We'll drink to that though.
Button there. Yeah, I got some glasses. Some liquid courage here.
This is what I'm talking about. This is the good stuff.
And I think we're live on YouTube here. We're live on Instagram. If people can hear on the Instagram stories, cool. If not, you'll have to check it out on YouTube.
Yeah.
Poured a little heavy there.
This is good.
And then, yeah, welcome aboard, Aaron Ryan. 2017, October the 30th, probably episode 56 right now. Clint Cronin show. This is the one leading up to Halloween.
Yes.
Leading up to Thor Ragnarok and leading up to Justice League.
Cheers to that. Come by.
Bye. That's sweet.
Ooh, that is sweet. That is good.
And here we go.
Awesome.
Once again, October 30th, 2017, Clint Cronin show episode. We're calling it 56. Just kick that on for the audio guys. That'll be on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, all those places next week. Again, Aaron Ryan in studio. That's a Checkmat Brazilian Jiu Jitsu black belt. Longtime friend, training partner, and Bay Area comic book aficionado, podcaster, YouTuber.
Yes.
Jack of many trades. And we're here again, Clint Cronin show. Just got done training. Fun as usual. You're in the hot yoga thing now, huh?
Yeah. I haven't been training as much as I want to. I've been kind of nursing a few injuries, but doing hot yoga, it's been interesting. I go to Yogasaurus Los Gatos. Just it's not the most. It's definitely very not bougie. It's just it's upscale. You know, it's different. It's a lot of you can tell it's a lot of moms in there, but they're serious and. It's really cool. I actually knew, I passed by the former mayor of Los Gatos, Jan Hutchinson. He knew my dad, and from training, a lot of the people that are there, they're like, yeah, you taught my son karate when you were like 10 years old. That's crazy. What are you doing now? I'm like, oh, I'm black belt in jiu-jitsu, and you know, and I'm doing this in conjunction with school. And
a bunch of work, huh?
Yeah, it's a bunch of work. It's a bunch of different stuff, and you know, it's funny how after a long day of school and homework, I'm satisfied, and I know this might piss off some maybe taboo in the jiu-jitsu community, but I'm good not training. I'm actually good. This is a hurdle that I've been meaning to get over for a very long time, and I know that a lot of jiu-jitsu people get out of work to go become these professional jiu-jitsu players, and I know the reason, and I'll be completely candid, the reason why I was never the best jiu-jitsu competitor is because I didn't have this stuff in order in my life, and it was always in the back of my head when I was competing. So now that I'm taking care of it, dude, it's really... tenfold, and I feel it when I'm training now too. My game's more complete, but also the intentions of what I'm doing, being in school and this yoga thing. It's definitely, I'm taking it serious. I'm not doing it for external reasons, but school's cool. I'm actually going to be applying soon for the American University in Paris, so I'm going to try to do my last 2 years in Paris of college. That way I can either go to London with that train that goes under the water, the Eurostar, whatever it's called, the Europass, whatever, to London to go and train, and then I can go, you know, up to Sweden, all those places to go train with other Checkmat affiliates. We have people all over London, Sweden, everywhere. It's so big over there. So
in Sweden, the one guy from the favela, then Jackson Souza's there, right?
Yeah, Jackson Souza's there, and then there's Stefan Sidell. I think that's how you say his last name. Okay. And then there's actually a Show Your Roll Sweden out there.
Awesome.
I'm not sponsored by Show Your Roll or anything like that, but I'm definitely like a part of a team that's so heavily branded by Show Your Roll that I know those guys have like a cool culture out there of some really cool jiu-jitsu. And my friends that have come from there to train with us at HQ, they were always so cool, and they train hard. They're all beasts. So it was, you know, it's like, you know, and they're trained from, they usually go to Brazil. A lot of those international cats, they go to Brazil and they come to America. They kind of do that circle and then back.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the one competitor that's is a Checkmat guy. I think he's in Sweden as well. He's a little bit older.
Adam?
I think
Adam Warzak. But that kid is that kid is the best, hands down. You would love him. Comic book lover, metal lover. He's Nordic. He's Norse like mythology guy. Nice. If you look him up, he's real good. But there is another guy.
This is, I think it might be
Finfel.
Yes, Finfel.
Yeah, he's dude. I got to do some. Let me tell you something. when when the World's training camp and the Pan Am's training camp happened the past couple times, Finfao was there. And I think I started training with them in 2012 and then really started getting into the camps in 2013, 2014, 2015. And training with Finfao was the most intimidating thing ever. Talking about a dude who is who is a physical specimen. There's not an ounce of fat. That guy could be the most talented dancer, the most talented gymnastics guy, the most talented jiu-jitsu dude, a runner. He looked like Ben Johnson. Like, you know what I mean? Like, his body type is exactly that, and he does jiu-jitsu. I couldn't hold my half guard to save my life on that guy because of his explosion. And just to see him train with the other dudes, he has that Teddy style, and I got to witness that year when he was competing against Teddy, and he took off his belt and he gave it to him when he was competing, and he said, "This is the belt that you sold to me," or whatever. And I got to tell him, I said, "Hey, that was really inspiring. It was really cool to be around those dudes." Finfao's legit.
That's like a super passionate, super motivated guy. Like his story is crazy. Like sort of people don't know about him. He basically came from the favela, right? Mm-hmm. And he's a very hard upbringing, and being where he is now, and accomplishing what he has in jiu-jitsu and everything. I mean, like, the guy owes his life to jiu-jitsu, and like and how gracious and supportive, and how much of a family the Leo and the other brothers
I was about to say that, and that's actually pre Checkmat. That's like pre-Braza. That's
back in the day.
That's way back. That's like TT. That's like Alliance pre Carlos Valente starting TT with Teddy, and that was Eduardo Telles was originally a part of the original that, and then and then Andre Galval was under them, and then he joined Braza, and that's when Leo made that Braza team, and then Comprito, and there's so much that goes into that. But what the cool thing about being around Leo and being around those guys, first of all, they all do that thing where they just speak Portuguese around each other, and they have that culture and that brother-in. But it doesn't mean that they don't let other people in. And if you have a certain rapport, or you train hard and you start to pick up the language, they actually start speaking a lot more English. And the stories I heard, like for instance, Leo was telling the story about him, Finfao, Teddy, his brothers. And they would all be training Comprito. They'd all be training, and then they go home for lunch. And when they go home for lunch, they'd be eating, and all of a sudden, two people start arguing. They start training, and like in the middle of the thing, they're training, and they're going, and like this one time, one of the brothers, like either Leandro or Ricardo, finished Teddy or finished somebody really high level, and Leo's mom was like, "You're gonna let this guy finish you?" Like it was and like, but that's what and then they went back to training right after that, and that's what these guys grew up in, and with that hardened lifestyle, it's gonna produce champions. But it's also, they have a style of jiu-jitsu called favela jiu-jitsu, and it's Catalango, I believe, is one of the places. There's Josenia, there's a few of those really well-known favelas, and there's styles from there. That long step passing style, digging your head inside and taking your leg out and long step passing, that came from them. But the crazy thing is, like, I asked Leo, I was like, "Who's your favorite grappler of all time?" Like, if you had to give, the new guys, the old guys, his answer is always the same. It's Royler Gracie. Yep. He always gives his respect to that. And if you ask all those guys, they all say Royler Gracie.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, Royler was that was basically the Eddie Bravo year. It was basically like Royler winds up losing an upset match to Eddie, and then
Leo really wanted to face Royler that year, because I don't know if you've seen the video of Royler beating Leo in the gi. Leo's in a blue gi, and he pulled guard. And I remember he told me, he's like, the strategy was not to pull guard. I was supposed to take him down, and then they said combate, and I just pulled guard. I was so nervous. I was first facing Royler Gracie. I was like, I would be too, man. But it's a interesting perspective, because a lot of people don't give respect to the Gracies. And I was watching Royler's videos. the guy wouldn't move. He would just get to positions, just stay there, and then just force his way to these weird spots and these traditional spots. And that's beautiful. To me, that's beautiful jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, you know, if you can't move them, that's your problem. I mean,
yep.
It's that style, that sort of just position over submission grind, and it doesn't, you know, play well with or it stylistically it can make for some kind of confusing or some weird.
It's a weird matchup. It's like if you look at the Gracies back then though, they had a pretty straightforward style. It was very straightforward. But if you were to look at, say, Hodger, Hickson, and you watch how Cronin moves, they actually have the advanced basics that are almost new school, nuanced. As a matter of fact, I always say it this way. The guard will always be that revolutionary thing that comes up with new moves. Advanced passing is the same as it was fucking in the beginning. Advanced passing is the stack pass and just cool ways of getting under that stack pass and getting to the other side. Yeah. It really, stack passing, and if you were to look at the guys who advanced stack passing, what they did is they would attack something like an ankle lock. They would sit, and then they would use that to leg drag and then stand back up, and then, you know, and that's the most advanced you could probably get with the pass.
Yeah, one of my favorite sort of stack pass variations I see is the ankle lock. So ankle lock,
yes,
and back, you know, going back and forth between the ankle lock and stack, ankle lock, stack. I was hanging out over with Half,
yeah,
and he showed this one deal where it was basically you would set up like a lasso guard from the top of a stack pass.
Yes, yeah,
and use that to like go into a crucifix.
Yep.
Duck under the legs, or like,
yep,
you know, basically like kind of shuck the legs over, like, you know, using your hips, just driving your hips forward.
Yes,
I use that to set up like bicep sliders and cross chokes from the back, and then
yep,
like that one-legged kind of omoplata where like you have the guy. It's in kind of a crucifix, almost like bicep slicer.
Yeah.
Then you kind of heel to heel, like from the back,
yes,
from the crucifix, and kind of shoulder lock like that. So like that setup, and that's a stack pass. It's just a matter of you're passing in a different way. You're passing right to the back.
Yes.
But you're using, it's basically if you were to take spider guard with lasso and turn it upside down to where the top guy is applying it instead of the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, grabbing lapels from the top and using your knee to bump that person forward, you get the initial stack going, and if you use your knee to stop them so that you can't just come back, they're literally just resting on your knee, and you're not on your knee, you're actually on your tiptoes, and your knees are up, stacking in, and using those two lapels and pulling the person forward and kicking their hips that way. You look at Leo, you look at Guy Mendez, you look at Rafa Mendez, you look at anybody who has, and the Mendez brothers, man, those guys have that crazy stack game where they can go side to side and do everything. But man, when I learned that style, that kind of nuanced style, what you're talking about, that's the bloodline jiu-jitsu, man. That stuff where you don't just hug the legs and throw the legs to the side, or think that you can just knee slide your way to victory. You use the stack pass in a way to torture your opponent so that they do not want to be there, and then they give you a side or they roll. And I think that's a beautiful thing. I think anybody who knows good jiu-jitsu, is a good jiu-jitsu instructor, they will definitely show you that that's the way to do it. You know, and I have I've seen different ways of people using that stack pass, same way that you're talking about with the lasso kind of on the top side. I love using that stuff to kind of get the person there and then pull them into, like you said, reverse crucifixes, but also to keep them there, and also to if they do something that I don't want them to do, to just bring them back to that same stack position, and just if I could, I'd make them stay in that stack position for 5 minutes straight, you know, and it would just be advantages for almost passing until they give up the pass, you know. And that's to me that's amazing. That my thinking is different in that terms. Before I used to think, knee slide, you know, this, I'm just gonna run through the guard, where it's now it's like, you know, you face some real advanced guards. Look at your face. Some real advanced guards, and then, you know, that's amazing.
Yeah, we just shared this live on Facebook.
Awesome.
So I wanted to do that, and like what it does is, I guess YouTube picks like a really nice thumbnail of whatever face you were making at that time, and
that was hilarious. That was good.
And it looks like I just got my dick stepped on. not a good face at all.
Love it. But yeah, dude, jiu-jitsu is such a cool thing when it comes to, we could talk about the moves and everything like that, but train the moves. Speaking of that, just a little plug for what I'm doing with the Aaron Ryan podcast. I'm gonna be doing some moves on there. Some small things just to draw some eyes to the page. But the reason why I'm doing that too, guys, is I haven't taught in a while. I've been a student. I've been practicing being a student. When I go into yoga, I was just telling Clint before this started, when I go into yoga, I don't say shit. I go in there quiet and I try to be like opposite the misfit. I try to be white belt Aaron, and I go in there very, 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 very humbled. And if you guys want to check that out, there's just going to be some moves on YouTube. But actually, this is a perfect segue, dude, because this guy is an amazing dude and a good friend and a teammate, and somebody who, definitely is. Oh wow! Oh, dude, that's awesome. So check this out, guys. We have a friend. I'll let you announce it, but this is something that's very tragic, man.
Yeah. So SFPD, San Francisco Police Department. We have a lot of friends just in law enforcement throughout the Bay Area. Just police train, and there's
probably around the nation with you, and easily with me around the nation. I have a lot of good friends that are law enforcement in and out of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. So Officer Lewin Tankle. He was, I guess, approaching a suspect, and it turned into a hit and run where he was hit by an SUV, and I think he was like drug under the car. It was terrible. Right now, he's in critical condition in San Francisco. This is a partner of a friend of mine who's been a big help to the podcast to me. My buddy Dave. He's a really good friend. Of his, as well as Tess. So Tess Casey, or Tess Kovic, she's a jiu-jitsu black belt, one of the best in the Bay, really.
Yeah.
So it's a good friend of hers as well. So they're going to be having a benefit seminar on November 12th, which is a Sunday, from 1 to 3 at Evolve Training Center in San Francisco. I will be there. There's going to be a number of great instructors there.
The best one's the last dude right there.
Yeah. So we're all going to be showing a couple moves. I'm going to be one of the instructors on hand. I want to contribute in any way I can. So I'll donate as well. But I'll be. She's
have Lana. I mean, dude, Lana's a legend. Stefan, who is a teammate and Stefan Goin is a dude who has been a long time Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but martial artist in terms of he trains multiple things and trained before he did Jiu-Jitsu. But what he does up there at Bay is amazing. It's such a great school, and in the heart of San Francisco, and the feeling of it. And our friend, and this is so sad, because talk about it happening to somebody who is the nicest. I mean, first of all, there's a lot of people out there who talk shit about police officers, and I don't, maybe it's the alcohol talk, and I get a little pissed off when people talk about police officers like they're this and that. They have the fucking hardest job in the world. As you can tell, this guy was just trying to apprehend a suspect and got drug under a vehicle. This is something that's happening to somebody too, as well, who you would want to be every single cop in the United States. Somebody who's trained in the martial arts, someone who's compassionate. He's a smiling individual. He's always understanding. And from what I understand, when he's working, he is so compassionate to the people he's working with. And that's, talk about somebody you would not want this to happen to. And, if you guys really, really could, it'd be awesome if you showed some support. I'll be there. And, there's a lot of people too who are like, oh, can I be friends with people and just get into seminars and stuff like that? Even if it's a benefit seminar, I usually double myself, guys. I don't make a lot of money, but I usually double the donation of what they ask at benefit seminars for things like this, just because it's just, this is something that's close to the heart. And if it was happening to me, I would hope somebody would do the same. But further, it's like, I go to regular seminars with just people who are black belts, whatever. I just pay. Even if it's a Checkmat black belt, I'll pay, just because of the fact that I know what it's like to be that instructor trying to grind and things like that. But it's for the greater good. There's other people who are being taken care of. So for this, it's not something where I'm paying extra for that other person and trying to be good for them. This is something where it's going towards somebody who really needs it, guys. And, you know, $25 isn't a lot to ask for.
Yeah, so guys, it's at the Evolve Training Center, and it's on Sunday, November 12th, 2017, from 1 to 3. The base donation for the seminar, and it's going to be well worth it. It's $25. It's not just about, you know, just a seminar to be a seminar. This is it's for a good cause. The medical bills are up there already. The community and the jiu-jitsu community and the local communities you know, come out and, you know, really contributed. But let's show what that jiu-jitsu lifestyle spirit's all about.
Exactly. That family.
It's Stefan Goin, Jay Gennaro, Lana Stefanik, Bryant. I have the worst pronunciation.
I know. Pangalian, and
then me. I'll be there as well, showing you know, what I can. So I'm very honored and you know, humbled to be up there, you know, contributing as well. And the Sweaty Betties are putting this on. Which
that's awesome. That's a good organization.
It's a pretty cool group. You know, in their own right. So you know, it's for, you know. It's based on donation, so, you know, it's $25. You can obviously donate more, whatever you can sort of do. It's a Sunday. It's the week after the U.S. Open, so hopefully everybody can make it out. And, you know, if you're not healthy, just come out, donate, watch. You'll have fun. A lot of people will be there. Evolve's a dope place.
Get some food after.
Exactly. I mean, San Francisco. So Sunday is Sunday. Like, how many people just go to SF on Sundays just to go anyway? So it's a really good opportunity to sort of to give back to somebody that dedicates their life to making our community and, you know, our scene and our cities better. You know, the police have a really hard job.
Man, those bike cops in San Francisco, dude, they have a hard job out there, dude. And, you know, the bike cops specifically, they get stationed or get assigned to, like, Beta Breakers and all those events, all the concerts, all that stuff, dude. It's, I mean, I can only imagine. I'm an old man, guys. I really actually think that we shouldn't even be supporting and putting taxpayers' money towards things like Beta Breakers. If it's going to be a race, have it be a race. I'm gladly support that. But, you know, all that other stuff, it's gnarly. But this guy, what he does, riding his bike around SF and kind of just, you know, like he said, he's an understanding cop. He's somebody who will talk to you and kind of get to the bottom of things before writing a ticket. A very understanding dude. It's funny, when I was going through a really hard time, he would message me out of the blue, and I'd be like, God, why does this guy care? You know, like, I only met him a couple times, but that's the guy, you know? That's the dude we're dealing with here. So, you know.
And it sucks the state of things right now. Where I mean, the media puts it out there that it's basically you know, police versus, you know, whoever. Like it's a whole thing, and it really sucks. I have a lot of friends in law enforcement, and I don't envy the job or the shit they put up with on a daily basis. They put up with a lot. And, you know, to be fair, there aren't some great cops out there, but to be fair to them, there's not all that great training going into them right now. I mean, the recruiting and the type of recruiting that they're doing. I think some of the training that they need to do would solve some of that. Now, people who want to bring extreme cases up, like Sweden or some Japan type case or something like that, it's very different than the climate that we have here in the U.S. It's not the same. They don't have our population.
Nope, they don't have the melting pot that we have, dude. No. And that's the tough thing that everybody else needs to realize, that we are lucky for the melting pot that we have, but it's also something that needs to be heavily monitored. That's the price we paid for becoming that melting pot country.
Yeah, it's you have these big socioeconomic disparity type, you know, big gaps, right?
Yes.
And then you have a free market system which is right out there to, you know, set to exploit it. I mean, it's you basically have a system where it's basically if I am not directly helping myself, I'm directly hurting myself. So fuck everybody. Like, that's what capitalism is. Not pure capitalism, but the way we've done it here, like what we've done in this country. That's what it is essentially. Like,
dude, half the people that are posting back on Facebook arguing with you still have to go and tuck the kids in at night, still have to pay the mortgage, still have to do the same thing, still have to collect their taxes, to think about those same things. They're still thinking about the end all of taxes being taken out and stuff like that. You know, everybody's compassionate, but to a point, man. Right. I think America goes out to everyone's little white picket fence, and then from there on is actually truly a free-for-all.
Like, I honestly, they're not arguing with me. I don't argue with folks on the internet, man. I don't have to, you know, live in their houses. They don't have to live in mine. They don't pay my bills. I don't pay theirs. So I give a fuck. I keep my eyes on my own paper. I do what I care about my fellow man. I have empathy for others. I get it. And
I think paying taxes is just enough for your fellow man, but dude, I think we are fucking taxes. We are. I think, you know, the type of dudes who maybe if you saw two people who were in a car crash on the side of the road and no one was stopping, you'd stop and be like, start getting stuff out, you know, there are compassionate people that are out there, guys, but you know, not everybody has to save everybody that's out there, and we're having a tough enough time saving ourselves. I feel like right now when I'm going through this like yoga and the school thing, I'm really learning how to truly take care of myself in ways that I didn't before. And what that caused me to do was push more people out of my life, isolate a little bit more, and take care of myself a little bit more, and not spend as much and not do things like I usually do. And that's a good thing. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, I've been trying to sort of, you know, just cut back in general and be kind of as close to a minimalist as I can be.
That's tough.
Just trying to be efficient, but I mean, I've got too many jiu-jitsu gis. I have like this big collection of fucking Jordans and sneakers. So
I see you're getting a bunch of want versus need stuff now. Shout out to Al. What's up, buddy?
Al hooks it up so fat. Like,
he's the man, dude. Those guys are the shit.
I have so much show your roll gear. Like, so much.
Yeah.
But like I tried on that first want versus need gi, and it fit like a glove, man.
Yeah.
It fit really well. And
Al knows what he's doing, dude. Al, East Side, all those guys over there, they're all good dudes.
You see how passionate he is. Just I sit there in his, you know, the headquarters for Want versus Need, and he's just starts designing stuff, and he's like, check these shorts out, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
And he's like, I was telling him about a logo, just an idea for a logo I had for the podcast, and he's like, oh, like this, and he like basically created a font for it and like made the logo like exactly the way I was like thinking it, and he just
that's a talent. That's a true talent.
Like, symmetric to where it was like mathematically correct based on what I was talking about. I'm like, I guess I have a logo now. Cool. So that's gonna go on stuff.
Yeah,
like,
that's going up. Yeah,
I need because I need to do new gi patches anyway.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like, t-shirts and stuff, because like I like to be able to like, here you go, thanks for coming on the show, here's a shirt. And people at the gym like keep asking, they're like, when are more patches available?
Yeah, they're shirts, patches, all that stuff. As a coach, that's like I feel like that's like one of the most necessary things. You have to come up with some sick apparel. People don't realize that. Like, you got to think of a cool logo, so that way. And usually if it's personalized to you, like Paul Schreiner's first logo was like him with big glasses, like this, like not Garfield, not Garfield, no, like Charlie Brown drawn version of Paul Schreiner holding a little Chihuahua dog with a black belt on. Like, I was like, yeah, and people that like sold out. That was crazy. Yeah, that looks beautiful,
so, like,
man.
It's a C, but it's an S in the middle for the show part.
I love it.
Or when we do jiu-jitsu stuff, it's sessions.
That's just sessions. Yeah.
Right, and then like you did it without, and then without. So
I love it, dude.
Boom, like that can just go anywhere.
That's sharp.
It's like its own. Like, I was wondering if I could tweak it and make it like the Superman edit somehow.
Oh, dude, I can see it in there. If you were to add like a little loop in there or something, right? or to take it and to try to just hexagon out somehow the belt or the I can see it. I can see it for sure.
It's already close though, right?
Oh, it's very close, because I can see the S in there. I look for S's everywhere because of the last name thing, you know, guys. But hey, shout out to Al, dude. See, this is the sort of shit that Al does. Al helped me out when I first was trying to become a fighter, and he was representing Nate James and a few of the guys who were coming out of AK. and those guys show me some support. I mean, it's tough when you're like this young fighter trying to figure out that stuff back then, when there was no, like, mixed martial arts was just legalized like a year ago when I was fighting, and that's like, for those guys to just take the time to be like, oh, we like this kid and what he's doing, and it was cool, man. He's a nice dude. Every time I see him, good rapport. And then, you know, I always look forward to running into him because of his style. He's got that, like that Pharrell style. Like, it's like like you just said, he kind of envisions things. And, you know, I feel like guys who are like Pharrell and those dudes, the reason why they're in those positions they're in is because they're able to visualize things and put it down and then execute it. You know, that's what he just did for you right there.
Like the stuff he's already like. He has that what is it, like Homies Before All or whatever.
Yeah.
He has that group, and dude, he comes out with some sick stuff. I always spell it wrong. Like, so yeah, he has like the Halloween gear like ready to go. It's Ron.
Yeah, I know Ron Henderson.
So this thing was like all like unreleased ski, and
so,
he's like, here you go.
Yeah, no, that looks beautiful.
I got the backpack. Like, there was a backpack that was for like she's like, oh, check this out here, take one. I'm like, oh, what the fuck. Like, he hooks you up so fat. So yeah, obviously, like, that's I'm gonna be rocking that to US Open on Sunday.
Wow, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. It's good to see Ron doing good over at HQ. Dude. He's actually the guy who took over for me after I left
Mr.
HQ.
Kessler.
So, you know, not Kessler. I'm talking about Ron Henderson, the guy you just showed the first picture.
Oh, I thought you meant AKA.
No.
He took over there.
Yeah, he took over there, but not for me. He took over for Leandro because they dropped the affiliation for Checkmat over at AKA. And I'm not like involved in that as much as I used to, guys. As a matter of fact, this dude wears a white bar on his black belt because he don't teach no more. So, you know, I'm just a guy, you know, and so it's something where I don't get involved in that stuff anymore. But I do understand that Leandro's not involved with AKA anymore, but he still is there actively right now, finishing things up, coaching fighters, coaching camps.
Oh, he's still doing the fighter stuff. Like, that's
yeah, he's still doing the fighter stuff and all that. But yeah, you know, and then. You know, there's some cool things. I've been talking to it's funny being back. I've had some times of kind of being isolated, and there's been some times where I get random texts. So the other day I got a random text from John Fitch, and he was like, "Yo, what's up, man? Like, are you back in San Jose?" And I was like, "Yeah, dude, yeah." So you know, I'm gonna be reconnecting to John. John and I were roommates for a long time when he first moved out here to the Bay Area, and you know, just a good. I'll take a little bit more. You know, a good dude who you know, taught me a lot of wrestling, a lot of jiu-jitsu, you know, and we trained a lot. I'll take a light pour. So, you know, he reached out. That's good. And, you know, it's going to be cool because we're going to be able to train some jiu-jitsu together, but hopefully that'll lead to me getting back into doing a little bit of striking and moving around and stuff like that and being around those guys because I miss the mixed martial arts aspect. And you know, it's weird how when you're going through new things, you feel kind of lost. And I feel like that was kind of like, you know, this dude reaching out so that way it'll be something that I can get back to. But, you know, Mike Prudencio is somebody who, man, he used to thrash me so bad, dude, in our backyard, you know, and you make me question what I want to stick with jiu-jitsu and all that. You know, those guys, it's funny, one time after I did your show, or actually not after I did your show, it was before I was coming to do your show. I was at Deanza and I went to Whole Foods and I saw Mike over there. And nice. We used to live down the street from that Whole Foods right there off of Stelling. And just what those guys did for me as a person, because like I was so lost. I tried doing school back then and I failed. And I tried doing regular life things, and it was good that I could isolate with those guys at least and go back to something like jiu-jitsu, because now going back to this thing, I really carry those moments that we had with me, because when I go to school now, I know those guys will always be like, I know where Misfit comes from and whatever he's doing right now, and especially now that I'm really taking care of shit, they really support me, you know. And Mike is that dude who, when I was going through some really tough times, he would kind of give the comic relief. You know, he's a beatboxer and he has a lot of different like quirks about him, but he's also an older brother. and he was somebody who would give me some solid advice, dude. And you know, I think that's amazing that we're all kind of connected in this Bay Area jiu-jitsu family, because it was a lot smaller back in the day, guys. It was a lot smaller.
Oh, for sure. It's like,
you know,
it's crazy. I remember what was it, hearing the 4-Hour Work Week guy, you know, the Tim Ferriss. So his book, you know, there's like a whole chapter that's basically about, you know, Dave Camarillo's story, and hearing that, I listened to the audio book again, you know, about a month or two ago, and then hearing them talk about Dave Camarillo back in the day when, like, I guess he had first met Shumei over,
he
was taking trips over, you know, overseas and stuff, and like he's working at HP as like a tech guy.
Like,
Dave, like that's right. That was Dave, right?
And I met Dave right after that, right when he got his job at AKA. Tim came and stayed with us a couple of times, and I just knew him as the guy who broke a world record in tangoing a girl in the spin. Like he span her so many times and so fast on like Good Morning America. I was like, because I was that kind of guy who watches like Good Morning America when I was at Dave's house. And I was like, you were that guy who broke the world record in like spins in the tango or whatever. And he was like, yeah, I'm writing this book, 4-Hour Work Week. And I was like 19, 20. I was like, yeah, whatever, I'm gonna go get high. And then
you're like, that's cool.
You know, he like blew up. Yeah, I was like, good luck with the fucking book, bro.
The guy's huge now. It's ridiculous.
He is huge now, dude. And he was taking private lessons from Dave, and this is right before he blew up, but definitely an interesting cat.
Is he still a purple belt?
Probably. I think he's probably still a purple belt. He doesn't, you know.
Difference? Like, the guy's a rock star.
He's a black belt and probably laying it down when it comes to the money. You know what I mean? To the money, honey. His little, you know, we all have our Tim Ferriss phase. I think everybody goes through that where you're like, I'm gonna biohack everything. And so I was looking at his day, and he has one of those videos where it's like day in a life of Tim Ferriss, and he's like just walking through meditating and, you know, all that. And I'm like, oh, this is cool. This is a guy I know. Things that I kind of do, but he has like full-on salt bath meditation rooms built into his house, and these like samurai fucking sculptures and all that sort of shit. That's what I don't have.
He goes over to the flotation tanks. Like one of my friends, I guess he was there at the same time Tim Ferriss was there. In either Oakland or San Francisco. I'm like, oh, did you say hi to him? He's like, no, I'd be all like, you know, I would have went all fanboy or whatever. And I'm like,
he's
like,
no, dude.
Well, this friend's like kind of famous too.
Oh, okay.
Like,
why would
really,
you?
Like, I'm pretty sure you know who you are too. And,
yeah.
He's like, no, it's weird. You know, I'm like, nah. Like, I'm pretty sure.
That's cool. That's humble of your friend. That's humble. That shows how humble he is. He's like, you know what? I'm still kind of, you know.
But like that's the level like Tim Ferriss is.
Yeah.
Now
Totally.
From being like a guerrilla jiu-jitsu dude back in the day.
And you know, the 4-Hour Work Week turned into 4 books or 3 books.
It's
and I have Tools for Titans. You know, that was a gift. And then he's come out with a few other. He has another one that's coming out pretty soon. But Tools for Titans was great because then that's what introduced me to Jocko, and that's what introduced me to. Well, actually, correction. I got introduced to Jocko by rolling in San Diego, but oh, dude, that was the most brutal tie-up I've ever had in my entire. I felt like I saw.
Does he roll like
death.
He looks?
He put me in this move where he locked my legs like from behind. Like, he took my back, but like he was a little bit lower than my butt. If that sounds weird, and he locked his legs.
Everything sounds weird.
But then he put me in a full topside guillotine and just bridged his hips.
From the back.
I was going backwards, dude, and I squirmed. I was all like, it was like one of those squirm taps, bro. Like I swear to God, dude, I saw death, and I was like, that man. And then he was like, yeah, I'm a black belt, Navy SEAL, and then I was like,
he did this to you.
Let me see.
There is a fucking pro wrestling move called the Dragon Sleeper.
Yes, yeah. Like that. And he, dude, okay, you know how there's like Navy SEAL movies where they show guys doing that move and they say like they're gonna, you're like, that wouldn't kill somebody. Jocko would kill you from that. Yeah, so he was pulling me back like that, but he had my back, right?
He what the fuck? Oh, of course.
Of course that goes down.
Of course we break the thing. So he does this,
like that, but he had his legs fully wrapped around my back. Fucking Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, so Daniel Bryan.
Fucking Daniel Bryan. You know.
Well, Daniel Bryan. That was Neil Mellinson, dude.
Yeah, he's Neil Melanson dude. So he had that
Extreme Couture guy.
Extreme Couture and the catch wrestling. But Jocko, talking about all that stuff, the efficiency and all that, we all go through our phases with that. I think we all find our own efficiencies and all that sort of thing. It's funny how I was listening to the Jocko podcast in the beginning of starting the podcast things, and if you listen to my first podcast, I'm like, just breathe, just get in there, get to the and then later on, I start kind of thinking like, oh, just be yourself. And that's when I started, before the Jocko podcast, I didn't really know it was a podcast, but I started watching Collider Movie Talk specifically. And that was with John Schnepp, who created a movie called The Death of Superman Lives. John Schnepp, if you look up Collider Movie Talk, it's a well-known kind of, they break, dude, it's my kind of go-to for everything. Like they catch Shazam, they have all this new stuff, and they kind of report on that. But there's also a guy named John Campea. John Campea started all this, and then he left to start his own kind of YouTube thing. And these are the guys I kind of go to for everything. And they are kind of the premier. They have kind of a good group of people around them. There's a dude named John Schnepp who's involved with them, who created a documentary called The Death of Superman Lives, which is about the failed Nicolas Cage Superman.
Oh.
You got to check out that fucking documentary, dude. It is so good. All the concept art behind it and all the other stuff. It is so good. So John Schnepp, he's a host. He hosts something called Collider Heroes, which is all about comic book movies and comic books that are being released.
I feel like I've seen stuff from Collider Media before.
Oh, I'm sure you have.
I've heard it. I just don't.
And then
know
there's a guy named
Collider
Frosty Weintraub. I keep forgetting his name, but he's a guy who reports on a lot of stuff from there. So I started watching them. And then John Campea has his own podcast. I know that was pretty nice, but that's when I kind of started looking into movie punditry and kind of was like, this is kind of weird. Like there's all sorts of different ways to talk about whatever you want to online. There's everything from Aubrey Marcus's podcast, which I feel like is like kind of like. And there's more like him, which are talking about doing psychedelics and all that stuff. And there's way more grassroots podcasts than his. His is more of a premier one. But when it comes to movies and people releasing things and stuff like that, these guys seem to be the most reliable because they follow the Hollywood Reporter, Variety, all those kind of like main things that'll break things. But they also have good sources to the inside.
The craziest thing I keep seeing, and I love YouTube, and sometimes I hate it. And you have to exercise a very good self-discipline when it comes to films and stuff. Because I'm not necessarily like I wind up like a bit more morally ambiguous when it comes to like spoilers and stuff. Like sometimes I want to know. Like if it's like a comic book thing coming out, I'm like, I'll read it sometimes. But they've had YouTube posts of basically the whole leaked script of the whole leaked Justice League movie. Yeah,
I've seen those. And there's been times where I think I haven't read one of those in a while, but I did read them before I moved back up here. I remember reading it because I was like, oh, you know what? Fuck it. I'm so skeptical on what's going on because at the time, the scale of everything has changed so much on DC because back when BVS was released, they had a whole different slate of movies coming out. They scrapped that, and we have like 4 or 5 movies coming out. It's Shazam, Deathstroke now, Wonder Woman 2, which is great, Gotham City Sirens, I think.
Yeah, which is Harley Quinn.
The Batman, and this Justice League movie, and then we have a Green Lantern Corps,
and then the Flashpoint,
and the Flashpoint, which changed because it was something else in the beginning. But these movies, these punditry places, they do a good job of reporting that. But there are a good chunk of those kind of, and it's like some of them are with the voice of like okay, sometimes guys we get a little I'll get a little high and I'll go online and I'll watch shit like Brandon Lee fakes his death, and it's a voice of a guy who's like, Brandon Lee faked his death, and it's like a computer voice, and you're like kind of freaking out because the music's all eerie. And if they're doing plot leak shit like that, that's when it's usually in the extreme, and they're usually not right. And plot leaks are usually something where usually you'll get a pretty strong idea. If you read it, you'll go, yeah, this seems pretty credible, but usually they're not And you have to understand, these people who work close to these movies are so fucking tight-lipped because it's their job. They know these. It's like Warner Brothers or Marvel has snipers outside this window, and just in case we worked for them, if we were to leak one thing, they would kill us.
Yeah, but these are so specific, and they're like, the videos are about an hour long, and they they read this thing from front to back, and they go scene by scene by scene.
Well, I think the Justice League ones have been pretty accurate, but at the same time, I think you could be like, yeah, in the beginning of the movie, they formed the Justice League. Cyborg's a little reluctant, Aquaman's a little reluctant, but Flash is really seeming to like it. So there's 3 of them, and then something happens where Cyborg jumps in, and then Aquaman jumps in, then Superman comes back, and all that.
No, it's like scene 1.
Yeah,
and they say this person enters the room, then this thing happens. It's very specific. It's the exact movie described on the script, and it's like an hour and a half. 2 hours long. Like they described the whole thing. The whole thing's leaked. But it was whenever I saw these, it was the version that before they brought on the dude from Avengers.
Those aren't cool. I feel like those are
This is a full fucking script leak.
And that's a full script leak. But also, it's also kind of the same thing as free movie websites. But you know what? I use them. I'll have to say I use them.
The difference is like that movie is not even going to be out for another 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's not.
But this shit was up 6 months ago.
Yep. No. They've had leaks going on since Zack Snyder took over, and Josh chopped them. So okay, let's just get to fucking Justice League, because it's like we're gonna talk about fucking Justice League. Let's call it Justice League from now on, because we know that dude took a 3-hour movie that Zack had, and we know from Zack's fucking track record that even though he made it probably a little funnier, there was going to be some times you were sitting through that 3-hour movie going, okay, what the fuck is the next act? Because that's what happened in BVS, even for me, who loves the fucking movie.
I was not looking forward to Justice League previously before they brought on Joss Whedon, because I was already ready to make fucking DC extended universe fucking excuses.
And they don't call it that anymore.
They never
did call that, and as a matter of fact, they're calling it the DCFU, the DC Film Universe. But to each his own. I think I'm going to call it the DC Universe, just the DC.
Yeah, they really call it the DCFU.
Yeah, they're calling it the DC Film Universe right now.
They don't know that they use that for other stuff.
Yeah. So anyway, they do. They use that for other stuff. But so check this out. They have this sort of spiel with. They saw the first cut, and we know that they saw the first cut that Zack released, and they were like, no, we can't go through this again, Zack. And whenever this thing happened, when Joss took over, that they gave him this movie, and they said, cut it up. And they said, put in some new stuff. And I noticed the difference when that first trailer came out, and that part with Diana Prince, and she's painting she's dusting off the thing, and they're like, what'd you do this weekend? She's like, oh, nothing really. I was like, that's Joss Whedon. That's not Zack Snyder. And I think you can agree, because we have differences when it comes to BVS, because I love that movie, but I watch it skip through now. Because there's times in the movie where I'm like, fucking just get through this part, please, Zack. Please just flush out this part. And we didn't need an African scene. We didn't need half the shit that was in that fucking movie. If they would have just copied World's Finest Superman's animated series, we would have had a much better reception.
There's like 10 different things they could have copied that they didn't copy. That movie was fucking boring.
It was boring. It was boring as fuck, except for the action scenes. It was fucking boring.
Yeah, but even like the action scene was like, yeah. Because
it was stacked. The action scenes were stacked.
I had the same problem with that I had with was it Civil War?
Yeah.
With fucking the fight with who was it, Captain America and Bucky,
Bucky and Iron Man.
I didn't. First of all, Captain America and Bucky, their chemistry was so fucking dry. Like I don't believe they've ever met.
Yeah. That's so fucking funny. That I'm the only one who fucking says that. I thought, dude, that's so crazy.
Their chemistry was terrible.
It's crazy.
They just seemed like they were just both there. But even though we're supposed to believe, like, okay, if you've been a Captain America fan since 1960 or something, then you know their story. But that I was just fucking bored. It's like, yay, Spider-Man's here, yay, Black Panther, yay, Tony.
Hey, but Black Panther scene in there was sick. Hey, dude, that was sick though. That was really
sick because nothing else was sick in that fucking movie. It didn't make sense.
It did make sense. I think also what you said with the Spider-Man saved it, because that part where, like, the only part where I felt like we were watching a continuation of the MCU was that little quote where he was like, "Where are you from?" He was like, "Queens," and he was like, "Brooklyn." You know, I was like, "Yeah, we're back." You know, like, for a second, we're back in.
I mean, they took a British kid. They actually made him have like a Brooklyn accent.
He has actually better accent than the last two Spider-Men that were American.
Spider-Man, they didn't bother telling him he's not from fucking Los Angeles. Maybe to have a New York fucking accent. Maybe that'll help. But
and like a real New York accent, man.
The kid is literally from the United Kingdom.
Yeah, he's not
from Brooklyn.
He's not from Brooklyn, and he has a very specific accent too. But if we got back to Justice League, you can see from the beginning too the extreme difference in the color palette and the delivery of everything, the marketing. I've watched it's Batman week right now, every AT&T marketing scheme leading up to this. The images of Batman that I'm seeing are Batman, the quintessential Batman, and it's getting better. What they're going to do is they're going to have that reveal of Superman. Hopefully, if this movie does good, we'll get those announcements of those next movies, and like you said, they will be changed after Flashpoint. And what I do hope they do, play on words, hope, is that they really give us. Okay. Actually, guys, check this out. I did a reaction on my movie channel today to Justice League, just reporting on Justice League, starting off everything. It's the Aaron Ryan movie vlog. I just changed everything to be under Aaron Ryan, so it's easy, guys. I listened to the soundtrack, and at first, the first two movies, Man of Steel and BVS, were done by the great, illustrious Hans Zimmer, who did the score from the Dark Knight trilogy and all sorts of other comic book movies. You should bow at the feet of Hans Zimmer. The Batman v Superman soundtrack was not the problem of that movie at all. That was actually a stupendous soundtrack. The Wonder Woman theme, everything that came from it was actually really great. I listened to my car.
The Wonder Woman theme was the coolest thing that happened in 2.5 hours of fucking movie.
2.5 hours of the movie. Check this out. So they at the end of that movie, Hans Zimmer, it retired Hans Zimmer from superhero movies. He said, "I will not do a superhero movie anymore because of this movie." So then Junkie XL went on to do Justice League. Then he got fired when Joss went on there, and they brought in Danny Elfman, the lead singer of Oingo Boingo, the man who did the original Batman. We talked about this last time we were here. But I listened to the Heroes theme of Justice League, and they released the actual soundtrack, and the list of everything kind of gives away the movie a little bit. I don't know if they switched the order of some of the tracks, but from what it seems like, from the leaks, it looks like what happens in the movie. But the Heroes theme, there are some parts where I got goosebumps today, and it reminded me of Batman from 1989 or Batman from 1992, and the fact that it's fall right now and it's leading into winter and it's colder out here. There's a Batman theme about 2 minutes and 30 seconds into that movie that they kind of introduce. I know it's Batman's theme. I can feel it. If they keep the Hans Zimmer, the Hans Zimmer Man of Steel theme, I think that's great. They keep the Wonder Woman theme, that's great. They come up with these new kind of more leading back to the 1992 animated series Batman themes, and we see that, and we see these superhero landings. I honestly think, and from what you've seen, we're gonna get a great Justice League movie.
You have put a lot of time into this movie already.
Dude, just looking at every single angle of this movie.
I'm pretty excited about Justice League, but you're fucking stoked about it.
I'm stoked.
You're really excited about Justice League.
I'm really excited about it, but I'm 10 times more excited about Thor Ragnarok, dude.
Really?
Like, yeah, because we get to continue a story arc of Hulk. We get to see Thor in a new light. This new version that Taika Waititi is doing is way better. Jack Kirby version. Dude, we're getting New Gods in one movie and New Gods in another movie. How can you not be happy? You know what I mean?
It's a cool time, man. But it almost sucks, man. I remember like one year I got all these Christmas presents and like I didn't open them. It's like I decided I was gonna do Christmas, but I decided I had all these gifts like sitting like over like by my fireplace for like a long time, like probably like the better part of a year. And like one day one of my friends was like, why don't you just open those? And I was like, because then they're not there anymore.
They're not there anymore. Yeah.
So like after these 2 movies, like what the fuck's next?
See, and that's the thing. I'm getting excited for Justice League because
it's gonna be like 2030 before they have a Green Lantern movie or something.
But I'm excited for Justice League because we are getting that change of tide that we wanted, and even I wanted. As much as I love BVS, guys, and I wanted that dark movie, the cool thing is I want the campiness. I want. Okay. How I wanted Batman and Superman to meet was not how they met in the movie. How I wanted them to meet was like the animated series where Superman peeks under the cowl and he goes, Bruce Wayne, and he goes, you peeked. And then afterwards, Bruce tracks down Clark by putting a tracking device on him. And like,
dude, you could do anything. You could do the way they did it in the actual Dark Knight Returns. Or the Dark Knight.
Yes.
That's Frank Miller's story is way better than what they did because they took like 6 things and put it together.
Yes.
My main problem was they took this palette and the tone of a movie that people didn't even really like. Mm-hmm. The Watchmen comic books are classic. The graphic novel, I've got it. It's beautiful.
You could definitely fit BVS in that universe, like with the tone and the city.
But the Watchmen movie, people in terms of being accurate to the comic, and like people didn't like it.
And I think
it didn't make any fucking money.
From what I saw, from what I'm seeing from Joss, I think they're pulling away from everything. Like there's almost like this Geiger-esque feel to Zack Snyder's. You know Geiger, he was the guy who did all the Alien the art and all that stuff. So there was this kind of Geiger-esque thing going on with Zack's style of how he was going to approach Apocalypse. From what I'm seeing from Joss, it's brighter and it's different. He changed a lot of shit. Like for instance, there's a part where Aquaman's going, oh yeah, like that, and he's looking up in the sky, and in the background, in the beginning, they were in a warehouse very similar to the warehouse scene, and now it's like some red background with like weird shit, and like they're in some mountainous area or something like that.
We'll think about it this way: if you look at the Snyderverse, like the way they did Batman vs Superman, and they did the Man of Steel movie, very dark and gritty, right?
Yeah.
All right, then you have Apocalypse.
Yes.
So what's the fucking difference? Is rent cheaper? Because it's fucking depressing.
It's depressing. We live
in fucking Newark, New Jersey.
Yeah, we're in New York, and then it's like Apocalypse comes, and it's like, hey, it's actually kind of brighter.
The sky's red, but it's brighter.
It's kind of nice out.
We got rent control over here. What the fuck? Like, how is it different?
I think they will cure that with however they make this return. I had this weird suspicion that maybe before Joss joined, they were forcing Zack to make Flash do a change, like he was gonna change time or something in the movie, and he was gonna do something to change the universe, so that way, like if Superman returned and he was like, well, what am I gonna do about Clark Kent, and then all of a sudden someone walks up and goes, hey Clark, what's up? And he's like, the Flash is like, well, I guess you got that back, or like something like that. I don't know if they have that going on as of now, but I definitely know that they have something up their sleeve with Flashpoint. I do not think that they have something going on with Flash in this movie. I think that the universe is kind of gradually going to change on its own. How would you rather have them do it in Justice League? Would you rather have them snap their fingers and be like, oh yeah, we have a new universe, or just gradually just freaking put the shit in?
Well, all they have to do is the Flashpoint movie and call it a day.
Yeah, Flashpoint movie, call it a day.
And they come back and they're like, look, Superman isn't about being Superman anymore.
Yep.
I don't get it.
And then there's a comic book where he's walking out and he's back from being dead, and it's like a new hope arises, or like there's a newspaper flying by and it's like a new hope, and he's happy. They could definitely do that shit. They can tie it into the movie somehow.
Super packs or some fucking super Zoloft or whatever.
Yeah, they can do whatever the fuck they need to do.
I don't get it. You're 6'3". You're like the most handsome guy fucking around. You got a 6-pack. You're ripped. You got the girl you want.
Dude, Henry Cavill, first of all, being cast, like there's not one woman I talk to who goes, yeah, the Superman movie was kind of boring, but let me tell you about that Henry Cavill guy. Like, he's probably ranked as like one of the top 10 best looking men in the world. Like, he's a perfect cast for Superman.
He's got white privilege. He has the powers of a god, but he comes out. He's like, I don't know. I don't like.
I don't know.
He's supposed to be the beacon of hope. He is the avatar of hope. When he's fucking 6'3", white, good-looking, rich, has white privilege, and he. Oh, by the way, he's also a god.
He's also a god.
He can fucking fly, and he can just take it right to the fucking dick, and he's good. Yeah. However, he's like, I don't know. I don't
know if I can like this.
Yeah, I think I need to talk to somebody.
Fuck
you, man. That's not hope.
Flush out that first movie. And what they do to make it up is they bring in a Metropolis-y movie, because what we missed in Man of Steel wasn't we actually didn't get a bit of young Clark. We got some of young Clark. We got the greatest American hero happening in one movie. We basically got a guy becoming Superman for the first fucking day.
That is kept Superman.
Yeah, and then gets forced to fight equal him plus 3. And then,
who was
whatever.
Actually, like, not that big of a villain.
Not that big of a villain who was actually really trained in all this stuff, but still,
you listen to a story and you're like, he's got a point.
Yeah, he's got a point.
It's like, this guy got a raw deal, and he didn't even get a trial.
He didn't even get a trial or nothing.
And then what happened? They made him. They put him in captivity for how long? And the Phantom Zone doesn't seem humane at all.
The way they did it in the first Superman movie was great, by Marlon Brando sentencing them to the Phantom Zone, because that made it and it also made it very viral to why Zod wanted to go after Superman in revenge of what Jor-El did to him. It was he killed Jor-El. It's like he killed his buddy. Like, why? That whole thing. But anyways, going back to Justice League, I don't think we're gonna see from here on out any of that. First of all, I don't think Zack Snyder's coming back at all. I don't think they're going to invite him back for anything. If anything, it'll be some...
Oh, man, he's got to go home after that shit.
Yeah. They
not the movie, but the family thing. You got to go home.
Yeah, you go home after that. And, he's been doing, from what I've seen, he's been doing a lot of suicide watch stuff and prevention stuff and donating to a lot of things like that and being a part of events like that. So, our condolences to the Snyder family when it comes to that. But let's talk about Matthew Vaughn possibly doing Man of Steel. Like off of this, do you think he would be if Superman? We know Superman's coming back to life in this movie, and he's going to be the new hope. Hopefully Batman can be like, yo, you got a second chance at everything. You can be a little bit more happy now. If someone like Matthew Vaughn was to take over the franchise, and we were to fight someone like Brainiac or Mongol in the next movie, do you think that would be a great change from someone like Zack Snyder?
That's a real question.
No, I know it is, because that's who they're circling, and that's who they're
like. Why were they trying to do a reality-based movie about a fucking dude from another planet that crash landed in a fucking farm?
I'll say this. If you were to go watch The Death of Superman Lives, and you see the debacleness of what the business is like doing these Superman movies and what they were dealing with Peter Jackson and the studio and who was currently owning Superman at the time, and I want a polar bear in this movie. No, Superman cannot fly. He has to have this, and we want a regenerated suit. And if you watch the documentary and you see the new suit, you go, they're using, for instance, in Man of Steel, there's a part where they're in the polar part, and he's in that ship still, and he's talking to his dad, the thing of his dad. There's 2 polar bears out there.
Yeah.
It's because of Peter Jackson saying, I want 2 fucking polar bears in that movie. There's so much of that fucking shit going into Superman movies that I almost agree with the fans, and I don't want to say this, but it's almost impossible to make a fucking Superman movie. Like a correct, to the T Superman movie. And what we'd have to do is settle for a great movie that honored the character and adapted to the screen.
Well, why can they make a good Iron Man movie when no one really gave a shit about Iron Man before the movies? No one cared. No one bought.
Kevin Feige, stellar casting, and a great movie written.
Nobody gave a shit about Iron Man.
Nope. Nobody.
You know what? And nobody gives a shit about him in comic books now.
Nobody gives a shit about Hulk or any of those. Like when I go to the comic book store, I don't look at the new Hulk comics there. I look back to the old. I always look back to the old Spider-Man, the black suit Spider-Man things and all that stuff. But I'm constantly looking up new DC, new Darth Vader, new Darth Vader saga is the shit, dude. I get so fucking baked and read that shit, and I'm in another galaxy far, far away. It's so awesome.
That's actually a really good book. It sells really well too. That's like always on like top 10 for Diamond, like the Star Wars Darth Vader one.
Oh, dude, it's so good. It's so... I fucking wish he made a movie like that and he was just slaying fucking Jedi and becoming powerful and just in his pods thinking about Padme and like, no, I don't want a fucking new suit. I want to train in this shitty one so I can get better. Like, that's so sick. So Jiu Jitsu like.
That's cool, man.
But, yeah, dude, Thor Ragnarok. So we were kind of getting off and, you know, probably off Justice League. But I was saying earlier, I don't have to check up on Thor Ragnarok. I know shit's going good over there. Well, like, I don't have to look so hard into DC. I look so hard into DC because I'm like, I want everyone to turn around and be like, yeah, okay, good, we're good.
Well, Thor 2 got pretty not that great reception from fans.
Thor 1 got, I'd say Thor 1 has a what I call the 3/4 reaction, where there's a quarter pod of people who are like, that's not my Thor, or the movie sucked, and 3/4 people are like, Chris Hemsworth is stellar. Yeah, the movie might have sucked, but that was Thor.
I don't think
the Asgard and all that stuff, all the Asgardian people, that was all accurate, you know, and it worked, but the movie wasn't stupendous by any means.
But Loki saved both movies.
Yes, he did. He definitely. Tom Hiddleston, who was originally casted for Thor in the beginning.
He tried out for it.
Yeah.
And then they're like,
like you can't get the weight, bro. We have this guy.
Here and he's already Thor.
He's kind of Australian.
Checked his birth certificate.
He has a brother named Liam. It's just, yeah, you know, we're gonna go with him. But you know what? I'm glad they did. And from what I'm hearing, this is a far departure from what we saw from Thor and Thor kind of Lord of the Rings is what I call it. Thor kind of the Lord of the Rings, and then this new movie, which is being compared to a Saturday morning cartoon.
Yeah, the thing that I've noticed with the last couple, and it goes back to the
Guardians 2.
Is that every scene, and if they go overboard with that in this Thor movie, I think a lot of people are worried about that. So I like laughing. I'm not opposed to joy. So if it's good, it's good. That's great. Like great. But at the same time, if it's just overboard, like just joke city, that gets annoying.
See, I know we're getting a good movie, and I knew we were getting a good movie with Guardians. I know we're getting a continuation of the Hulk, and we're having a 3-movie Hulk arc from here on out, and all these cool things, Jeff Goldblum, the Kirby universe. But as much as these people who are giving the benefit of the doubt, and these people who are reporting these reviews going, it's an awesome movie. There's a little bit of some humor, maybe too much humor, but awesome movie. It's like when you first see a movie and you're first seeing it and you're like that, but then you see it 2 weeks later and you're like, man, there's too much fucking humor in this movie, and all I want to see is Thor hit some people with his fists. That's it. And you know, I am a little worried for that, but I'm not gonna give Marvel the benefit of the doubt, because they always hit it out of the park.
Well, there's been a couple of the Marvel movies where, and I like most of them, but Iron Man 3, for example, it was over and I'm like, what the fuck was
dude
that?
Oh my god,
that was not the movie from the trailers.
Well,
that was not what they sold us.
And then, you know, the trailer I just saw for Black Panther, first of all, I watched that like 6 times fucking over because that looks sick. But as far as this, Taika Waititi, I keep saying it's Taika Waititi or Titty, or I don't know how to say his last name, the director of this movie, Thor, he has a part in this movie, and they actually recasted him for Avengers 3 and 4. So apparently his character in this movie is so great that they had to recast him on 3 and 4. Like, he's doing that good in the Thor universe. If I had to take the last movie over a little bit more funny, I'd go for a little more funny. Plus, okay, we didn't even get into the whole thing. The Hulk story arc that's starting in this, that's kind of a semi-planet Hulk. We're fighting Surtur. There's Hela destroying Thor's hammer. Are we gonna see Beta Ray Bill of some sort, or a throw to the Beta Ray Bill? Are we gonna see the new hammer axe? Like, no. What's happening? You know what I mean? Like, what's going on in this movie?
Oh, fucking easy, dude. No, if there was the new axe, or if the ultimate hammer was gonna be there, or any of those things, you would have seen it already. Fucking Odin's gonna die, man. He's gonna get the Odin Force.
He's gonna get the Odin Force. Because that's that glow of him and that part. Yep. Yeah, is the Odin Force. Yep, and Odin hasn't been able to use it because he's old.
Odin can use it.
He
just,
but
he just hasn't because he didn't. When did he need to?
Yeah.
Like when did he have to? And it's basically his brothers. The power of his brothers are basically like when they died, all that power, God shit went into them, went into him. So then when he dies, Thor gets it. Then he's eventually fucking, you know, God Thor or whatever, Rune King Thor, like in the future and shit.
Dude, when he comes out for this Avengers, because we know this movie is leading into Avengers. This is the last movie before we get Avengers Infinity War.
Is it?
Yeah. There's no more movies before. And then the first movie after Avengers is Spider-Man Homecoming 2, or whatever they're going to call it. Spider-Man Prom, whatever they decide to call it.
When is Avengers coming out? When's Infinity War coming out?
I actually do not know, but I think it's next year, 2018, 2019. I think it's the first movie release where we're going to have Avengers 3, and then 2 months later, Avengers 4. So it's
So is it?
they're filming the movies back to back right now.
So they're actually releasing Infinity Gauntlet like right after?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Not the year after?
Not the year after. They switched that up for some weird reason, and they want to get out Spider-Man, Ant-Man the Wasp. They want to get all this, and that's another movie that's coming out after that, Ant-Man the Wasp. And then, you know, hopefully there's some. Like, Captain Marvel's going to be, obviously we saw her on set there. I saw a few pictures of her on set. Hopefully we get some like fucking Namor and some other shit. You know, all of a sudden just some people are popping up and you're like, that's fucking Namor. They don't have to say it, but that's Namor right there. You know what I mean? Like some dude just pops out of the ocean and just like, you know, and it's just there, and you're like, yeah, he's got some eyebrows and he's kind of Asian. Yeah, that's Namor. You know, and
Is he Asian? I mean, mutant.
You know, he's a mutant, but you know, they can do whatever they want.
Doesn't mean he's Asian.
You know who I could actually see playing Namor because of the eyebrows is that guy from Hawaii Five-0, the dude who played the new Shredder, and he's in a lot of these like newer kind of martial arts movies. But you know, some guy like that who has that kind of like, maybe he was out in Japan, you know, and like radiation or something, you know, something happened where something, you know, because guess what? We're pushing Inhumans out of the Marvel universe as of now because that shit just sucks.
So I went and saw in the theater.
No, you did.
The first 2 episodes in the theater. What a piece of shit. It was so bad. I thought it was a prank.
Yeah, I watched the first 5 minutes and turned it the fuck off and started watching Daredevil to stop hyperventilating,
dude. Black Bolt, oh my god.
Oh, the worst acting.
It was like
he's all, get tired. It's like, dude, come on. Yeah.
I thought it was an SNL parody of the fucking, I'm like, is the real thing happening now?
So for all the people who say Marvel can't do shit wrong, there's Fantastic Four and the Inhumans so far that have just like, come on, guys.
And y'all kill Wolverine for this.
Y'all kill Wolverine for that. Yeah, it's like, come on.
It was so bad.
Yeah, it was so fucking horrible. Dude, it was playing while I was cleaning, and I wasn't even paying attention, and I walked into the room like with this, like I was cleaning intensively. I was really fucking baked, and then my dog was like, "What the fuck you doing?" And I heard in the background something, and then Marvel's Inhumans, and I came inside, and I was upset, and I changed the channel. I put out something else like Friends to cheer myself up.
You didn't watch the full 2 episodes?
I didn't even watch the full 2 episodes,
by the end
dude.
of it, so Theon Greyjoy from Game of Thrones plays the Dick character from like the brother from the Inhumans that like wanted to, that was used to date the whatever the fuck Medusa.
Medusa, yeah.
Yeah, so the bad guy, the one that like, he like overthrows them and like he like kicks the royal family out. By the end of it, like he's such a good actor and they're such bad actors, you're like, dude, I'm totally on his side.
That's just that's
because you're like, that sounds like a pretty noble cause. Like he's clearly the villain. Like you get he's lying to them, but you're like, nah.
Don't give your properties to ABC, first of all. Second of all, just follow what the fuck's going on with Daredevil and all that shit.
I was on board with the dude from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
I was like, nah, he's a hero here.
Yeah, he's a hero here. Yeah, he's a hero here.
Those guys are abusive.
Like even Lockjaw couldn't save you. Like, come on. Like
no, they tranquilized him or some shit. Like,
like see, that's my thing is like we can hopefully phase 4 of this leading out because we're about to end a 26 or 18 movie arc from
I'm gonna be 50
Avengers
by the time Green Lantern comes back.
but like, okay, so
50. Fix this, DC.
The DC EU will be fixed in that time. I think we're waiting for this. We got these a little bit announcements leading up to Justice League, but I think we're gonna get the brunt of it after we see the success of Justice League. And we've heard that before. They're kind of pumping the brakes for right now. They let Wonder Woman release. We're gonna let Justice League release, and then we're gonna announce the full slate after that. But with Marvel, I hope that Phase 4 means that at the end of Avengers 4, Galactus is we see the Silver Surfer go, and then we see Galactus come by and just fucking eat a planet, and then fucking it leads into Spider-Man being mentored by Reed Richards, and we have some fucking awesome Fantastic Four goodness.
They have to buy the fucking rights back, and there are no other good villains left. Because all of them came from the Fantastic Four universe.
And Doom, like, how can you fuck up? Like, Doctor Doom would be the fucking mischievous fucking would kill. It would be so fucking sick if they did a Doom that was right, not Nip Tuck.
Can't have Doom. Can't have fucking Galactus. And can't have Kang the Conqueror.
That's right, because they don't own them. They don't own them.
They have to fix that whole thing.
People have to understand, too, this deal that they have with Spider-Man is a fucking rare deal. And as a matter of fact, it's not Fox, it's Sony. And if you see Sony, the reason why they had to let go of the reins is because of that big scandal they had with the emails. When the emails came out, that's shortly after that they made that deal with Spider-Man to save their asses. Now what are they doing? They're making a movie, and they literally started production with Tom Hardy as Venom, and they confirmed, they said Tom Hardy's not in the MCU, but Spider-Man, Tom Holland, is in our universe. This is the Spider-Man Tom Holland universe. Yeah. And I don't think they could do that with Fantastic Four.
The Venom movie, it's like Spider-Man will be around, but the focus is it's going to be the first.
It's the origin, right?
Well, it's going to be Carnage. It's going to be Carnage versus Venom. That's why, like, if you go to Comic-Con,
so cool, though.
If you go to any Comic-Con right now, the biggest, like, the best-selling books right now, like the ones that you find everywhere, like high-grade versions, like then the price went way the fuck up. First appearance is Venom, which is Amazing Spider-Man 300.
Secret Wars?
No.
That's a suit. That's the black suit.
Yeah, like that one doesn't sell for shit. It's the 300. That's Eddie Brock in costume.
Eddie Brock in costume,
so
right.
Amazing Spider-Man
that's the one
300.
where he's on the cover and he's kind of like over. It's like this. I used to have the original and it's all fucking beat up. Yeah.
I've got that 9.8 Signature Series CGC certified. I got it signed by Stan Lee.
Oh, dude, that is so gangster. I used to stare at that fucking, like, terrified of that fucking cover, dude.
It's a 9.82. Like I got.
You remember what I'm talking? It's Venom over Eddie Brock, and he's kind of like this, and it's like in a field somewhere, some crazy thing like that.
So I got that. There's that one, and then the first appearance of Carnage. Like that book, like it tripled.
Who do you think they cast as Carnage? I think it's fucking Jim Carrey. Just saying, guys. I think Jim Carrey, just some fucking like playing like. Let's bring Jim Carrey into this universe to play someone like Carnage. Can you believe that?
Riz Ahmed.
Oh yeah, Riz Ahmed is also thinking about being. Riz Ahmed was in trying to think. Yeah, Cameron Monaghan is another name that they're bringing up from there.
Yeah, so the Venom movie, like I've always been a big fan of.
Dude, Ruben Fleischer, man, he is that. I mean, I'm excited to hear him. Writers are Todd McFarlane. I mean, look at Todd Hardy, like the full cast and crew. Michelle Williams.
Yeah, it is Riz Ahmed.
Dude, Riz Ahmed has been in here. Click on him. Well, I believe he's been in a ton of. He's been in Star Wars. He was in Rogue One, wasn't he?
He's in the Bourne movies.
He's in Bourne movies. He's in Rogue One. He did so good in Rogue One. They originally casting him for Aladdin, but he was doing this movie instead.
Well, we'll see, right? So,
we'll see.
So that book is one of those like hot sellers right now because it's supposed to be the Carnage Venom thing, which is creepy. Because
Riz Ahmed would be good because I think we could see Tom Hardy being Eddie Brock, who's big and broad and bully, and then more of a Riz Ahmed could be a reclusive character who's kind of in the dark, and when he finds the Carnage suit. Because remind me again the Carnage suit origin.
No, there was no. It was no Carnage suit. What happened was the Venom's symbiote, right?
And part of it
came off, right?
It fucking reproduced asexually, and like that the spawn of the Venom symbiote, like its child, bonded when they were in prison next to each other, and Cletus Cassidy was like a homicidal fucking psychopath, like crazy motherfucker, and like he killed his whole family, like
Yep.
And like he was in jail, and Eddie Brock was in jail. Like they wound up in the same insane asylum because he's fucking split personality with the Venom shit, I guess. And when the symbiote bonded to him, like he turned it like that was Carnage.
Ah, it's so crazy.
Yeah. So and then basically the same thing happened. Carnage made Toxin, but like it reproduced.
It reproduced
but,
after
like,
that. Yeah.
Carnage wanted to kill it because like he was embarrassed or humiliated, like he's a dude and he's like having a kid.
Yeah. Toxin. That's right. Do you see now the Carnage character would have to be a bit more extreme or darker than what we're getting from Eddie Brock.
It has to be R-rated. The Venom
it has to be R-rated.
Like, fuck that movie.
100%.
If it's not R-rated, it has to be like super violent, like the Wolverine, like nasty violent. Like 30 Days of Night, fucking just
you know that they wouldn't be
violent.
scared to go that route if they had to, because we have gotten a rated R movie from them.
We've done two.
Yeah, we've done two.
You did Deadpool and you did the fucking Logan movie, and the Logan movie was fucking tremendous.
And thank God for Deadpool for going to there. And by the way, we're getting a whole new X-Men universe because of fucking Deadpool. Like, the next X-Men universe that we're gonna get out of this whole thing is partly because of Days or X-Men Apocalypse, but I believe they're gonna can that. They're really not. They really don't want that to continue as much as they're doing
with Ivan Ooze from the Power Rangers as the bad guy.
Dude, oh my God, that was so fucking horrible. But
fucking stupid.
My favorite part of that movie, every time I go through, I'm going, you know, these people who are playing the X-Men aren't that bad. The girl who played Jean Grey, you know, hot as hell, you know, put her in for the Phoenix Saga that obviously they teased next. That's obviously what we're getting next. We're getting a Phoenix Saga and the Jatari, and
they fucked up Psylocke, and that's not okay. Like Psylocke, she's supposed to be shaped a certain way.
Yes,
she was the first character with back. I'd appreciate.
Was that Singer who did X-Men Apocalypse? I believe it was Singer.
Don't know, but you fix Psylocke. You fix her now.
You fix her now. Oh, they will do that now. But I believe what happened was those movies came out, and then Deadpool came out, and they went kind of like DC. Like they were like, let's just go this like fuck all that, because we keep our continuity schmontinuity on this side. We have this Deadpool movie. Why don't we're gonna put in this Cable guy? You know, Cable offers kind of like a Flash thing where he can kind of like ripple through shit and go everywhere. He could go into the X-23 movie, which they're calling Laura.
Yeah. Well, the cool part about that is Wolverine isn't dead. That movie doesn't happen for another 40 years.
Yeah, that movie doesn't happen for another 40 fucking years.
As many Hugh Jackman Wolverine movies.
Yeah, and especially him popping in Deadpool is a dead possibility, easily a possibility.
I mean, he's saying he doesn't want to do it now, but it's like, yeah, after you just wrapped on shooting 2 films in a row, pretty sure you're going to say no to a bunch of shit. But
dude, he's doing The Greatest Showman right now. They're just wrapping that with Zac Efron. Dude, you know that he's going to be, after that, he's going to be like, give me some fucking Wolverine money.
18 months and a fucking, $50 million, and like he'll be right back.
He'll be right.
He's like, where's the claw thing again? Whatever.
You know,
like, he doesn't have to do much now.
I think I'll give him this, as he recovered from skin cancer, I think right in the beginning of him filming Logan. So he was going through a lot. He had skin cancer on his nose, and so whatever that was going through, maybe he wants to take some time for that. But trust me, I think if Ryan Reynolds can send him a few gay tweets, and they always have those. They have the best tweets. Blake Lively, by the way, she on Ryan's birthday, he posted some picture of himself or something.
So your Twitter, are you on Twitter? Are you a Twitter guy?
No, I'm not a Twitter guy, but I just saw this, that Blake Lively tweeted back with a photo of Ryan Reynolds. Instead of it being Blake Lively, I think Ryan posted this picture, and then it was supposed to be Blake posting back to say like, "Oh, I love you" back.
What the fuck?
And at the same time, she puts Ryan Gosling's photo in there and kind of tags it back, and they kind of have that sort of like rapport, like joking rapport, and that filters into the movies. It's really kind of funny how that works.
like I don't tweet that much.
I don't tweet that much either. I just look. What I see from Twitter is what people repost on Instagram.
Who are these people? I don't tweet.
See, you should more though, dude.
I should totally tweet.
You should tweet more because that's good. That's you know.
It's not bad.
Do you follow the president on Twitter?
Do I?
Because I do. I follow both presidents. I follow all presidents on Twitter.
I think like the SNL.
Bill Clinton had a Twitter. I would have followed the shit out of that thing. I would have followed his likes, his interest section.
I follow a bunch of like comic book people,
Ivanka,
like wrestling people. Tatsusura, I don't know, something in Japanese. I don't know. Oh, that's Okada from.
You know who I follow a lot off of Twitter will be either movie pundits. Yeah, you do. You got him.
Stanley and
Stanley.
Trump.
You know who I follow is mostly like comic book stuff because they do a lot of announcing off of Twitter. Tom Lawler is the man, dude. The guy's the shit, dude.
I had a lot of fun hanging out with him.
Filthy Tom Lawler, dude. Because Kyle knows that guy so freaking well, dude. Like
every time I met up with him, we went and watched WrestleMania. Did I tell you that?
Oh, dude, that's no. You went Tom to go watch fucking WrestleMania? Are you kidding me?
We went we were in Sam's.
The guy dressed up as Keith Hackney to go to a weigh-in.
So we went to Sam's Town in Las Vegas to go watch WrestleMania last year.
Oh, jeez.
And dude, they fucking pack because they have like an indoor sort of like kind of like an arena thing.
Yeah.
But they played it on these giant TVs, and fucking we're sitting there watching it, and this one guy like got so mad that Brock Lesnar beat the Goldberg that they threw a fucking Corona like fucking hard, like point blank, like right next to one of Tom's friends, like this MMA dude, and like it went like you can see his eyebrows, like kind of the hair is like
jeez,
like he almost murked dude, and the kid like he was so pissed off that his wrestler didn't beat the other wrestler.
Oh my god,
like, he almost committed a felony with this beer bottle.
Oh dude, oh my god.
Once he realized what he did, he hightailed it out, but like it was fucked up because like he wasn't like all like. I wouldn't say he was 100% healthy. Like he had like a walk to him, like he had a thing.
Yeah.
So like something was off, and it was like, oh no. So anyway, like Tom's friend was like pretty cool about it. Like he's like he didn't die or anything. Like the bottle didn't hit him, but like it smashed like right against the wall next to his face. Like what the fuck is this? So like we were like leaving after the show's over. There's a shitload of people there, and we're like standing up by the bar, and this dude walks up to us and just starts talking to us and shit. And I had no idea who he was. Like it was just some dude.
Yeah.
But probably like in his 40s, but like dressed like hip for a dude in his 40s, like a bigger guy, like a heavier guy. And then we're like, me and Tom were like, I don't know what that was. Like that was weird. Nice guy though, right? Yeah, nice guy. Like 3 people after came up to us. They're like, dude, you know Violent J from the Insane Clown Posse? We're like,
holy shit, no way.
We're like, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
We're like, well, you guys were just talking to him for like the last 10 minutes. We were like waiting.
No makeup.
Yeah, it was just it was just like a white dude with like that was just dressed like,
and he was just like fan of MMA.
He's a big like he has a pro wrestling promotion like that they do for the Insane Clown Posse.
I'm sure, Insane Clown Posse definitely does. Yeah.
Championship wrestling, dude.
Oh, that's so sick. Like, so they're like, hey Tom, what's up?
They were just talking to us and like just walked right up to us like they knew us, like it was normal. I didn't know. And Tom is a pro wrestler. Like he's a active pro wrestler. He's like doing really great. Like,
is he in Japan right now, or is he?
No, he's in the United States.
American circuit. Because a lot of those guys, a lot of the MMA guys, what they do is they go to the Japanese circuit, they make it big, and then just come out here to WrestleMania, and then because they can make a lot of money out there.
Oh, so I think.
Well, talking about those guys, did you see Todd Duffy up in Batman v Superman during the street fight?
No.
So the fight where Batman whispers into that black dude's ear and he goes, you need to do this to beat him, and he goes and beats that guy. Yeah. The other guy is fucking Todd Duffy.
Really?
Because I stood up in the middle of the premiere. I was like, that's Todd Duffy. And people were like, what the fuck? What is this guy doing? And I sat back down. I was like, oh crap. And then I called Todd after. I was like, dude, are you fucking serious? You're in Batman v Superman? He's like, how did you know? Because I got to see those tickets. I got to see it a week and a half earlier. He was like, you're not supposed to know. How do you know? I can't tell anybody. I'm under the embargo, and freaking Warner Brothers will kill me. I was like, no, I just saw it. I just saw you in there. But those guys do fucking. Tom should do movies, dude. That guy would fucking kill it.
Oh yeah, man, he's doing really. Like, he was a pro wrestler.
Scott Hall. See, I love your Twitter followers. Now look at this. Let's go for a second. If we're gonna segue into something, guys, let me tell you a couple of my favorite pro wrestlers. First of all, the Stinger is definitely one of them. But if I had to go with my favorite era, it's when the Outsiders broke away from WWF and they came to WCW and they started the NWO. That was probably the fucking most quintessential time that I started watching, and I'd go to my instructor, my jiu-jitsu, my karate instructor's house. We would watch that shit. Every time we would finish a class, we would go, "Just too sweet," and like salute each other, the whole thing. Scott Hall, Razor Ramon, break you like a toothpick, all that stuff. Just, Degeneration X, like these guys, we didn't have Ultimate Fighting was like so few and far between back then that you actually had to almost look up to these guys as men who were doing fitness type things that were doing tough shit on the weekend. Like every tough guy on the weekend wasn't worshiping Brock Lesnar as an MMA fighter. They were worshiping The Rock as a pro wrestler. Those are the people that we got to follow. Movies are another thing. These guys, they paved the way for us in a way that let us feel like being crazy dudes. Yeah. Dude, oh my God. Just such a great show. Such a great dude.
We just pulled up a picture of Bud Bundy from
Andy Newaza, Andy fucking Hug, dude, Andy Hung and dude, both those guys, the Hung brothers, or the brothers who are hung, who I like to call them brothers who are hung, are two of the most awesome dudes ever, and some of my first training partners, blue belt days, purple belt days, and I would hate it when they came in because it's one thing when you have some dudes come in who may have trained some wrestling back in the day, but when you have the San Jose State judokas coming in and training with you on a regular basis, and you're a blue belt, you're equal to them. That's it. You don't, and then they're gonna throw you, and it hurt. And then Dave would be like, "Oh yeah, you can't go to the ground with them. You have to just try to throw them." And those boys were built like shit brick houses, and this is before they went through a body transformation. Those boys, they went through a huge body transformation. I think it was back in 2008 or 9 or something like that, where they went through this huge,
they got thick
body transformation. And boys, if you don't think we were all watching it, we were all watching it, and it was amazing. I mean, and to see what he's done in Portland, see what he's done with Dojo Outfitters, from where they come from, two strong boys, two strong, good-looking dudes from Hawaii, and just great guys. Another dude who we got to train with back then was Travis Stevens, back before he was at Henzo's or any of that.
Oh yeah, he just did a fucking seminar thing over at Portland Judo not that long ago.
Yeah, he did.
Olympic silver medalist and shit.
And he, it was crazy, man. I got to be good friends with him when he first moved here because he was a very standoffish person. He wasn't even friends with people in the judo squad. He was friends with some girls, and when I met him, he was trying to possibly be a fighter, and then I was trying to do things, but he was nice enough to teach me some judo stuff, but we did a lot of rolling together, and he really wanted to become this jiu-jitsu guy. And let me tell you guys something. That kid has some stories from when he was a kid of getting fucked up, and just the scar tissue that guy has over his eyebrows from just judo. And he's grew up on farms his entire life, so his wrists were as big as my kneecaps. Like, he was just built so much differently. And I saw him go into AKA during the fighters grappling, and he was Ippon throwing every one of the he threw Koscheck throws just so hard one day, and then Koscheck had this little thing after. But man, the judo in that kid was killer. And I think he's doing a great job in jiu-jitsu, but they definitely have some other killers at that damn death squad now. That,
so I was just up at EBI 13.
Dude, you got to see Gary fucking just tear it up again.
It was 2 hours of EBI and 2 hours of Wagner Hosha in overtime. It was like
I've been there. I filmed EBI a couple times for Grapple TV for Kenny Jewel, and let me tell you, fun event. But you can get caught in some fucking some overtimes, and you can be stuck there for quite a while. And it's like
even the combat one, like the combat one, even because like no one was really like palm striking it. It's still slapped.
It's slapping, yeah, it's slapping,
But,
dude.
Man, homeboy Boogeyman like pulled it out. He's the welterweight champion for for what is it, EBI or combat CJJ combat jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, for combat.
So I was stoked for him, man. Like I waited to the end because like I knew from the start when I looked at it, like, so first of all, it was Bill the Grill, and I wanted to see Bill the Grill win the thing, but like that was a stack card. He didn't advance.
Let's be honest with Bill the Grill, dude, because I love him. The first two fucking American grapplers that I ever paid attention to was Jeff Glover and Bill Cooper, two of the greatest. Yeah, I know. It was up at my Checkmat affiliate. I actually just got off the phone with Jeff, so possibly arranging something soon, guys. So we'll have him back up here again. He's doing a summer tour, but Bill is and was one of the best pioneers of American grappling with jiu-jitsu out there. If you are a young kid and you don't respect Jeff Glover or Bill Cooper, you're a dumb fuck. Go fuck yourself. Because those boys
for a while, man.
held it down for the longest time for us American youngins. But Bill, as of now, isn't as focused as he was back in the day. He's not the same Bill as he was back in the day.
So he cleaned up, man. Like
he cleaned up.
He turned his life around. He's a family guy now, and he just opened Goodland Jiu Jitsu.
It's right in Hollister, isn't it? It's near Hollister. It's because it's
down in LA area.
Is it really?
Yeah. So like whatever town in the LA area would be nicknamed as Goodland.
Okay.
It's there like I'm not even.
Gardini? Is it Gardini?
Maybe it's that.
He's in the country somewhere, because I know he's like a country boy now, and he's from all his posts and everything, it looks like he's out in the country somewhere.
Let's just look real quick, because he just opened it. So
go visit him.
Yeah, that's a soon trip.
Go later, dude. That's right. That's Hollister, dude.
So it's near us.
That's Santa Barbara Carney. That's 4 hours away. That's like we're going to go wine tasting in fucking Palos Verdes, or not Palos Verdes, in Paso Robles, dude.
Oh really?
Yeah, that's not that far away. That's probably 4 hours. Let's put it in Google Maps to see where it's at.
So I'm in LA quite a bit anyway, just because.
Dude, if you're taking the 101 back, I guarantee you this is right off the 101.
So I'm in Los Angeles more than I'm in San Francisco, and I'm kind of in San Francisco often also. So,
dude, that's Magnolia Shopping Center, Goleta. Put it from here.
It's like probably 300 miles.
Dude, that's 4 hours.
294. That's it.
Dude, that's not. Oh, I can see exactly where it is. Right below Lompoc.
You go right past the prison.
He is in the country. He's in the dude. It's right before Solvang. See, because that's where Sideways was filmed. I actually go and do wine tasting out in the Solvang, like exactly where they did film Sideways. Yep. So Lompoc too. That's where I don't know if you caught the reference. Yeah, that's a prison reference for where
driven past that.
Where what's his name? Vin Diesel. What's his name? Toretto. Yeah, Toretto.
That was Tyrese talked about it. Like,
yeah,
that's when he got.
And he said he's all 2 years. I'll never go back. 2 years in the Lompoc. I'll never go back.
Yeah, that's the prison. Because there's like when you're coming from Arizona into California.
Yeah, like, and if you're arrested in L.A., if you're arrested for serious ass shit, they send you out to Lompoc. They don't send you out to San Bernardino prisons. They don't send you into any of those L.A. prisons. They send you out to Lompoc.
That's funny. Like my cousins all live over in this area. Like not San Bernardino exactly.
Riverside,
like,
dude. My cousins live out in Riverside.
Oh, it's funny. Like,
dude, there's hella Indians, hella freaking Muslims out there, bro. That's where and I'm not saying that in a way. When they first come to America, they don't live in Los Angeles. They live in San Bernardino County. That's just where a lot of immigrants, whether you're Muslim or not, it's just a high percentage of Indians and immigrants Indians and Muslims go there.
So my go-to is Jean Jacques when I'm down there.
Oh yeah.
The two places that the new places I want to go check out are Meraki. That's Ken Flo's new place.
Yeah, Ken Flo's new place. Yeah.
That's they're all outfitted by Want versus Need.
Yep.
So
yeah.
They got that Waikis. There's Waiki only. I've been to Checkmat headquarters like a bunch of times, but like I haven't had to train there.
You should go to the new one because it's
Long Beach.
Yeah, well, it's in Long Beach. It's just what they did there To be honest, guys, when I was at Checkmat headquarters in the beginning, I started that with Leo back in the day with the kids program. I was heavily involved in the kids program and at the adult program, but I was basically, I'll be honest, I was basically running the place for Leo to get the place started and for them to take the next step. And when they were going to take the next step, that's when I stepped away. But I helped them build the base for everything. And when they were starting everything out, Leo was traveling to Abu Dhabi. Then he would come back and have to coach all these people and do all these things. And I was even, there would be times, guys, where I would be coaching some Jackson Souza character at a Worlds thing because Leo wasn't there, but they trusted my coaching and they trusted my strategy and they trusted the fact that I could be there for them. And so I was that character. Leo's back now, and he's got this place called Dojo. He's got a place with Checkmat headquarters, so he's stationed there a lot more now. There's also a bigger focus. When we were there, we were trying to tailor out the classes and figure out what works for who. We had a you couldn't be there without an instructor being there rule. That rule is gone now. There's people drilling all day there now. It's much more jiu-jitsu. We were just trying to keep everything non-political in the beginning. We wanted to make sure everybody was just there to fill up the classes and to just be on the same page. Nowadays, things are kind of different. The pros are there at all hours. The doors are open at all hours. People are training at all different hours. Because when I was in there, it was way different when I went down and visited for the soft opening. Like, I was there for the pro training, or for the morning training. It was 2 hours of wrestling with Jacob Harmon, by the way, with the pros. And then there was other pros in the gi on the other side doing gi specific stuff. We never had that. It was always the pros training together. We would all do no gi together. We would all do gi together. So whatever they figured out there, they're doing good with. And when I went there, I had a great time. And all the best to HQ, all the best to Dojo. But also, guys, when you open a school, it's a progression, it's a learning, but you have Leo there all the time now. And if you go again, I guarantee you'll be able to get some training. And just text Bushesha and he'll get you in wherever they're training, because he will usually bounce between La Habra and HQ. And I'll say this about La Habra. It's called La Habra Brazil for a reason. If there's a true place that you guys want to go test yourself, go to Lucas Leite Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in La Habra. That is the toughest place I've ever trained at. And it's Lucas is doing rounds all day in there. And Bushesha is doing rounds with Lucas in there. And they're going at it in that small place. Jesus. And, you know, Ponza's popping in there. Jorginho's popping in there. You got Jackson Souza in there. Fenfao in there. You know, it's La Habra Brazil for a reason.
So, you know, two people that are like the nicest, coolest people, but like they have that switch where like they're fucking intense. Like Yuri's a friend of mine. He's a good friend of mine.
Woo! Yeah. Dude.
He's one of the most passionate, hardcore, like hard workers, but like that guy has a switch where he's intense.
I know students of his that say they go when I talk to them, I go, "How's it learning from here?" They're like, "He's the best," but I think he's killed somebody before in his past, possibly two.
Man, I love that guy. Because I've seen him pissed, and I'm like,
yeah, dude.
I think like Nogi Worlds last year, like he was like, he was on his way to fucking like killing it. Like he won that. Like, he won this last year in San Francisco, and he was like just on fire. And like Buchesh is not even on the same team as him anymore.
Yep.
And he's like over there, kind of like talking to him, calming him down. I'm like, I saw both of them, and he's like, oh man, but he's like, he chilled out for like Buchesh was like able to talk him down or whatever.
I think because Buchecha has that. He's
the nicest guy on earth.
I know that there was some animosity when Yuri left the team of Checkmat. Either he was pushed out or there was something where he didn't mesh well with whatever was going on with because we had kind of this weird issue with Dale visiting our gym because I invited him one day and
Australian?
Yeah, and he's a Checkmat affiliate, but he's Yuri's student, and they for some reason they made a big deal about it. But someone like Buchecha going through, like Hickson really respects Buchecha. You know, Henzo respects Buchecha. All the so cool. Because he's a cool guy, but he fights, and I think when you're somebody who speaks through your jiu-jitsu on the mat and you represent yourself off the mat the way you do like that, but you fight so hard and you train so hard. The guy trains so hard. and with the best guys, and makes no fucking excuses. You have to respect that, and you have to. It's like when I saw Kavaka and him and that whole dynamic after Michelle left Kavaka, and after Michelle left Kavaka, and after Buchecha left Kavaka to stay with Checkmat after Kavaka left Checkmat. There was still this respect and rapport between them and the whole team, no animosity. And maybe that happens for average grunts like me and other people who don't really do much. For the people like Buchecha who are innovating the sport and holding the highest level, you have to respect that. But also, I think Buchecha might be the only guy who could hold down a dude like Yuri, and that's a tall order even for a guy like Buchecha. Like, Yuri is insane, and he brings that to his roles and the way that he attacks everything. He's so technically fucking good too. He has a mindset of, he has Kyotera game planning his shit behind him. That's so gnarly, you know. Yeah. And however they focus that Rage, he's a two weight class winning ADCC champ
and two-time Nogi world champion.
Nogi world champion in both weight classes, right? And both open and
he double golded.
He double golded, yeah. It's like you can't.
No, man, he's a force, and if you have him on Facebook or whatever else,
like the nicest, like you were saying, the nicest guy.
He's the coolest guy.
Every time I see him, I've never trained with Yuri. I was never a part of Checkmat when Yuri was a part of Checkmat. I just saw him at a few tournaments. He was like, "Hey, what's up, bro?" Or like I saw him with like Bernardo or like the guys from Checkmat, and so he like got introduced. But like he's always like he was on the phone one time, like I felt like he was the mafia, like Tony Soprano, fucking. Oh, what's up, bro? How's it going? Gives me a hug and shit. I was like, "Yeah, what's up, Yuri?"
Yeah, he's a friend, man.
That's so cool, dude.
Over here, fucking plenty. I mean, he's a really nice guy.
Yeah, he's a nice dude, and
Buchecha is like both of them are like the nicest guys. The parallel I was making was like the other guy that's like the Checkmat dude that's like as intense but also super nice guy. And
Panza.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, it's Panza. It's
Panza, like, and I totally.
But on a goofy level, Buchecha is definitely way more like focused, like good looking focused, where Buchecha's or Panza's very good looking, but he's very wacky. And you come into the gym in the morning, dude is playing DMX, and he knows every dude. He's not CrossFitting. As a matter of fact,
like what would you call it? Like
it's just this made up workout, because he doesn't do CrossFit. What he does is they work him out with. He's doing the thrusters. He's on the rings. He's doing fucking thrusters. He's outside on the fucking thing, running. Comes back, sandbags, doing things on the ground. Comes back. He's there conditioning for like 2 fucking hours on 4 scoops. Mind you, 4 scoops, 1 scoop of different pre-workout. What? So NOx, amino acids, this thing, that thing in one, and takes it down. When he broke his leg, remember when his leg got snapped by Felipe Pena?
Yes.
I'll give you guys the insight on that. He was eating every day a scoop of coconut oil and 4 almonds this size to cut weight, to make it to 198 or whatever he had to make it to. And he was scooping out 2 helpings of pre-workout, what I mentioned, those 4 different types of pre-workout a day during his training sessions. And he was training 3 times a day, every day, mind you. So Leo had this suspicion because he was there. He said, I think his aminos in his body counteracted because of the weird supplements he was taking, the fact that he wasn't giving his body a bunch of nutrients, and the fact that he cut all that weight, and the fact that his bones were getting brittle because of that, snapped.
So, man, I'm like 6'2" and 220, and I don't have much body fat on me. And like most people look at me and they're like, "What the fuck?" I look at him and I'm like, "What the fucking fuck?"
That guy
he's built like a god.
5% body fat.
Oh, he's shredded.
And he's always like, I'm cutting weight. And you're like, you're already fucking shredded, dude. So if you guys don't know, Luis Panza was a underwear model in Brazil before he became a jiu-jitsu guy. Yeah, he was an underwear model. So so during the grand opening, we had pictures of us on the wall of these big pictures, and all the girls who came to visit for the CrossFit segment were like, "Who's that guy on the far left's picture?" And I swear to God, dude, it was like they were just like, oh, and Tony was telling them, he was like, yeah, he's a former underwear model from Brazil, all this stuff. He can turn jiu-jitsu fighter.
If you are watching this right now or download it on demand anywhere that on-demand high-quality videos can be found, Luis Panza is better looking than you.
Yeah, is way better looking than you. Yeah, as a human being,
he's better looking than you.
Like, it's go. I had the unruly pleasure of going with those guys, Buchecha and Luis Panza, to the beach. And let me tell you guys something. I didn't exist at all. The 5 guys that were with me too didn't exist at all. Those 2 boys were just walking on the beach, and they were surrounded, like, it was like they weren't celebrities, but they're celebrities, and it was amazing. But
no, there's no jiu-jitsu celebrities, but
those guys definitely slay it. And at both of that time, they had girlfriends. The funniest fucking thing to see ever. These guys being like, "Oh yeah, well, I have a girlfriend. Can't do nothing. Being this, you know." But Buchecha's with Mackenzie Dern now, I think, or something like that. Yeah, poor guy. Poor Buchecha.
Megaton's daughter, right?
Yeah, Megaton's daughter, jiu-jitsu girl. You know, the whole thing.
Yeah,
match made in heaven. Every time I see Panza, he's got. I'm not gonna say anything because I knew his, things like that. But,
nice guy.
Nice dude. And woo.
He's still over at Black House, right?
He's still at Black House doing his thing, being the ninja.
Well, there's you go over because it's that place, Jiu-Jitsu Pro Gear, and it's this Brazilian store like right there in Torrance.
Yeah.
They sell those little cocada candies.
They have the cocada. You know who? There's like a mom from HQ that made those fresh.
Fucking good, man.
Dude, so good. That's
the one. Like, there's a couple desserts in Brazil that I like when I'm there. Like, I have to get, and I wind up. Yeah.
When they make those fresh, they're like warm Three Musketeers. They're like better than any Three Musketeers you've ever had. Like it's so fluffy. Some of that stuff that's in there, and then the other part of the team that people don't really see that grind really hard, Marcelo Mafra. Oh, yeah. Or actually, they do see him, Marcelo Mafra and Lucas Leite. But those guys are busy doing right now is creating their own teams. They have some good solid dudes at their gym. If you go to their gyms, their purple belts and their blue belts are fucking hard to hold down, and they're really well trained by both those guys. Mafra by far and Lucas by far are 2 of the pound for pound best jiu-jitsu players ever. And if you were to ask the big guys who they learn their jiu-jitsu from, it's those 2 dudes right there. The half guard from Mafra, the half guard from Lucas. Plus, Lucas has this style of passing that's very brutal. No other way to explain it. And his ferocity, the way he trains. But also, Mafra has this technicality and ferocity about him that's very soft yet very aggressive. And it's a funny mixture because it creates, like him against Ben Henderson, I think is the perfect example, where he was doing those little half guard turns to just sit Ben on his butt for a second and just scoot out and take his back. But then when he gets on your back, it's this aggressive fucking, you can see it in his eyes. He's like, homie, you're dead. You're about to die, and I like that. His students, like, if you were to go and look at the students, the people, the demographics of the people, like Dojo has a certain demographic, HQ has a certain demographic. Marcelo Mafra and Lucas Leite's students are all loked as hell, dude. They're all loked kids. They're all, straight from La Habra and straight from those areas around there, and it's crazy. It's cool to see. And then they have a few people that are helping them that are Brazilian and all that are, it's an amazing thing what they got going on over there. And I love it. I love going and training with those guys because I get humbled when I go over there.
Oh, so Deadpool from
Here we go.
Pre-workout crack, exactly. Yeah, Renato Larange, 27 world champion. He's actually been on the show.
He's been on the show. Yeah.
Mr. Larange is a good friend. He's been on the show. Kicked it with him in LA.
Everybody pay attention.
I'll let him know you said what's up.
This podcast about brothers. Let me tell you something. It's about everything.
Everything, and it's about.
Hey, I love that hashtag checkmat right there. The hashtag checkmat. Lucas Leitch does do a great class, but let me tell you something, dude. When Leo is teaching, all those dudes pay attention. It's like every little detail that you could think of that Lucas will teach, Leo will have a more insight or a different, more detailed thing to add to it, and it's amazing. That guy's kids classes was where I learned everything. Recently, I've been able to do some things in jiu-jitsu that I wasn't able before, and because I learned that bloodline style of jiu-jitsu that Leo has, and I mean, it's amazing. Like I said, the passing thing earlier, advanced passing is the same as it was back in the day. It's the same thing, getting from side to side, but what they do is they do it very beautifully. I think the people who do it the best nowadays is Guy Mendez. Yep. He has the best stack pass game out there. And if you were to look at what he does with the stack pass, he makes the other person miserable. But have you seen the Mendez brothers go to like the Hickson Cup in Japan, and they have those highlights of what they do to those poor suckers out there that they go with, that they just decimate and just like dance around and do like freaking, like there's these moves where they're just grabbing onto their belt and just ragdolling the dude a couple times, just go around the other side. You know, that style they learned. I'm not going to say that Leo taught them that, but there was a certain time where the Mendez brothers were learning from Leo and Lucas, and they were all kind of together. And there is a style that I believe that Hickson has. I think that Hodger has it. And people always go, oh, that's the most basic jiu-jitsu. But no, what that is that's the advanced basics, because all basics, whether it's simple or advanced, it's basics. And they all learned it from a guy named Holes. It all came from Holes, the innovation type, the dude who like was like, all right, I'm gonna use wrestling, judo, this jiu-jitsu stuff. I'm also gonna just instead of trying to dig my head into this person or battle them, I'm gonna pick up their legs and just lift them the other way, make them face away from me. That sort of mentality was brought forward by an intelligent, bright person like Holes, and what we're seeing in this evolution of the new jiu-jitsu is brilliant. But I argue to say that there was some times where I was watching Cronin and I was like, I learned that same sort of pass from Leo, and what someone would look at as advanced or something like that from Leo, just because it's Leo doing it, and they say, oh, Cronin only does basics, so that's a basic move.
Yeah, but all that Leo stuff goes back to TT, and
goes back to TT. It goes back to Alliance. It goes back to Jacare.
You know, and Rolls. You look at Holes. You look at, and you had like Terere over there. This was a lot of innovative stuff. You had Eduardo Teles with the turtle guard stuff.
Yes.
And like, it seemed like for a lot of those guys, that was like their ability to experiment and to like come out of like the traditional stuff. But I mean, they all had very traditional backgrounds. Like they were all very respected, and they were all like very accomplished even before TT happened. Like they already had their own style, and they all came up very traditionally in Brazil, in Rio, well, in Sao Paulo, where they actually went to. So like,
you make a good point.
They all had like a strong foundation in the fundamentals when they got there, and it was just like they put their own swag on it. Like Eduardo with the turtle guard, like here's your like you're talking knee slide pass before. Well, like his counter knee slide passes, he would just turtle up and sweep you,
right,
or turtle up and fucking break your leg.
And then walk like as you walked around and take his back, he would sit and put you in the close guard. I remember all that stuff from Eduardo Teles. Dude.
Like his style was cool. Dude, I love rolling with that guy.
Oh, dude, that guy, when he came into HQ, I had so much fun because he's one of my favorite guys in the beginning. I really liked the turtle guard. Eduardo Teles was one of my favorite in the beginning. Nino Shembri was one of my favorites in the beginning because my influence. Dave really liked Nino Shembri. But, you know, this is one thing I got to say about Dave's jiu-jitsu. When he made his take on it, it was very broken down and technical, and I love that because it's easy to explain to the beginner, the Jiu-Jitsu 101 and the stack pass and everything. For instance, with the stack pass, He would make sure the hands would go low towards the hips. You connect your hands. You slide the person up the knees. You open up the gi. You reach your thumb in the gi, fold the gi over, then you lift the hips and you walk over, right? I started teaching that one day in front of Leo, and he was like, no. Like his little Miyagi way. He's like, no. You're going to teach it 3 ways. They get their hands under, and their hands are over the knees. They're going to grab the inside of their gi. They're going to walk a couple times. The person's hips are off the ground. You throw the legs to the side, pass. The next one is you go under the knees, but you grab the hands as they're inside the other person's hands, and you cup them, cupping the knees. You walk inside, use your knee to stack them a little bit. You bring them off the ground, throw them to the side. The next one is the low one, where you get low, you bring your knee up, and you make them stack to their knees are fully back and their toes are touching the back of the mat, and then you throw them to the side. So there was this kind of like progression from like, I saw it was like Jujiro Kano to Helio to holes. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that sort of jiu-jitsu is where, that's why the Mendes brothers will always stay 10 years. They're hard work, but the fact that they broke down and they studied that bloodline style, and it created their own style, but in a way that their basics and their advancedness would be well above a lot of other people. And it comes from crawl, stand, or walk,
but
run.
You have to think about like, so the bloodline and like what was hoped to be like accomplished from that actual style.
Yep.
So what you're talking about when you talk Dave, you're really talking about Half and Hyan Gracie style of sack pass. Like that's what exactly he teaches. Was what Half Gracie taught. Half Gracie was a fucking fighter, man. Like
and he taught it too. I remember when Half taught it to me too. He was like you're being too nice. He's like you're walking the student through it. He's like, you need to fight. Like, so when he did the stack pass, it was like low, pull up and land on the person. Open the gi and when you open the gi, you pull it tight and you fucking look in their eyes and you make sure that they see that Half Gracie's student is fucking sending you to hell. I love that about Half, dude.
If you look at it from the perspective that they were showing it initially, like look at like just Hyan Gracie black belts.
Hyan Gracie, yeah.
A guy that was there with Hyan, like that went through all that stuff. Like jiu-jitsu wasn't this thing where you're like, you know, everybody has.
They were doing
belt.
this. They were fighting, dude. They were fucking.
If you had a black belt in jiu-jitsu, you could handle yourself. Well, on the street for sure.
I tell a lot of students nowadays. I say 2 things. I say there's somebody who's finishing you right now in training that is guaranteed not making it to black belt. 2, there's a strong guarantee that person won't make it there. They could make it even to brown. The other thing is that there's that toughness, that fucking just that shit that you'll run into that'll make you give up, you know what I mean? And that being able to stick with, and that the like what we were talking about with Hyan and them, their style was made for like stacking the person, punching them. It was very street and very as a matter of fact, house instructionals were very like locked down. It was very, very tough. Damian Maya took that other style, like that non-fighter style, and brought it into MMA and used it in a very efficient way. But if you were to go back to all the NHBs and the, you know, all that sort of stuff, you better have Hal style, you better have Henzo style, you better have that style. And I also tell kids too, if the reason why it was like that back then, and if you were a part of a jiu-jitsu school back then and you were a blue belt, you were expected that if someone came in and doubted the art, you had to fight them. And if you didn't win, you get out the gym. Your instructor wouldn't want you back, especially if you were under Half or one of those guys and someone came in and was talking shit. He's gonna be like, yo, I'm not fighting you. Go fight one of my blue belts. You better win. And that was the climate we were in back then. And that's, and as a matter of fact, I still think that's a good climate to be in, because it really made it separated. Because I can't even say men out of boys, because there were some chicks who handled themselves in those places.
Man, of course there were, but I mean,
not a lot.
It was a different space back then. There were less people involved.
Yeah,
and
a lot of doubters of jiu-jitsu. You know, a lot not so many people who knew about People don't realize mixed martial arts wasn't legal in California until 2011 or some shit like that. So we didn't have sanctioned fights unless it was a big Strikeforce event until 2011. Amateurs didn't happen until 2012. I couldn't get a fight here until 2012. And so our outlook on this was a very brash outlook, but at the same time, you had to be a little bit more willing to fight back then, or a little bit.
Yeah, the belt matriculation took way longer. And
yes.
It was harder. A lot of schools.
Plus, there wasn't competitions everywhere. There was rare competitions, and there was no YouTube.
No, there was. Well, and then if you did go online, it was frowned upon. And then going from belt to belt took fucking forever. And it was fight school, so it was harder, and most people quit. And you were basically, when you got into it as a white belt, they just beat the shit out of you. If you stayed after the first class, they kept doing it, and then eventually, like after getting your ass kicked for the first months, or you're one of them. If you were like BJ Penn and some kind of prodigy, you're a black belt in 4 years. But everybody else, they grinded it out and they made it. So it was years and years and years.
Exactly.
Of just eating shit, and then one day you're one of them, and then you're one of them.
And then you're one of them.
Now it's different. It's a different climate. It's a Yelp climate, and it's a sport. It's an art, and it's a lifestyle, and all that stuff. And jiu-jitsu saved my life, and fucking white belts matter. The whole deal.
That's the worst. By the way, I fucking agree with you. That's the worst thing. The hashtag white belt forever and white belts matter. Get the fuck out of here. Go train hard and progress in this thing. There's no reason to sit at your fucking white. That's so funny that you mentioned that shit, dude, because there's a lot of people in this art that I had the privilege of not having to pay for martial arts training since I was 10 years old. I've always had to give back. I've always had to teach back to give back, and I've always had to show up and give back or clean the academy. But for the most part, I've taught and received back my training. So me being there hasn't been ever an obligation of it's $186, so I better go. And even I would say 3/4 to even more of the people who sign up for jiu-jitsu aren't that type of person who's signing up for jiu-jitsu. The people who are like that, they quit. They quit so quick because it's just not worth the money for them. But second of all, you go there with an intention. There's an intention in my head that I love jiu-jitsu. And there's so many people who are in love with, I want to be a tougher woman. I want to be a tougher man. I want to be this. The first thing you should think is, I want to humble myself to this phenomena of jiu-jitsu. One of the things I learned from yoga is like surfing. It's nature. You're never going to master it. It's like a never-ending thing like jiu-jitsu. So do I go into this yoga class being like, oh, I already know everything because I'm this jiu-jitsu guy and all this shit? No. I'm going to, right? I'm going to go in here humble and being a good person and learn and just hit my walls like I'm going to hit them. A lot of people go into jiu-jitsu and fighting and all this stuff, and they think this is some fucking, thing where they can just master it. You know what I mean? And really, it's not that at all. You have to be so humble to the fact that jiu-jitsu is so far above us. Like yoga, I believe it was given to us by the gods, and it's something that we have to honor in that way, dude. It's not anything else but that.
Any advice for those going through the blue belt blues?
Oof.
Go compete.
Yeah.
Go compete, and just see where you're at, and win, lose or draw. Get yourself excited about it. If you haven't,
that's true.
You do, but it's fun in both surfing and jiu-jitsu. So we're reading some of the comments from the YouTube live right now.
Well, I think what he's saying. Okay, any advice about going to the blue belt blues? There's some surfers who go through the same thing. There's people who go through all that. My advice is at the blue belt blues. My coach was Dave Camarillo. He was busy coaching a lot of UFC fighters when I was a blue belt. He wasn't there. What I did is what Clint said. I went on my own and competed without a coach, not anyone, maybe just a friend coaching me to keep a bird's eye view. What did we also do? I went and traveled and trained and made good friends with people like Jeff Glover, people like Rafael Lovato Jr., Scott Barry, Scott Nelson, Chris Holdsworth, all these dudes, Sean Williams, all these dudes who were good friends in the house that I was living at, but also just people I saw in the scene. You just don't be shy. Go and meet them, or go pay to be at a seminar. Show them how cool of a person you are. They're going to, you see them one time when you're in town, drop in and take a class with them. They take you out for the night, and you go and you become better. Sometimes the blue belt blues is because you're putting too much time into thinking that Jiu Jitsu and the academy and all that stuff. Blue belt is also a progression of life. If you're looking at, maybe you have the blues in one thing because you're not maybe your training's stagnant because your endurance. Start running a little bit more, eat a little bit better, start doing some gymnastica naturale to make your body more fluent while you're training. That's going to be your way. What else is it? Is it life? Is it something in life that's affecting you? Is it something that's physically with your body? Maybe you need to go through a body transformation for a few years. Who knows?
Man, blue belt's great, man. It's the last one where you actually have a little bit to sort of experiment, to sort of bake in things, because like once you're a purple, like that's responsibility with the academy. And there's expectations. White and blue belt, like you're kind of figuring out who you are, like what's my name kind of thing.
Yes.
Once you get to purple, that's a whole. It's like but the day I got my purple belt, the day I got promoted, I was in my head, I'm like, oh shit, I'm only ever gonna be up here 2 more times, and then I'm a black belt, and then I'm gonna start handing these fucking things out. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, totally.
So like, it changes the dynamic altogether. So like, really embrace it. I was a white belt for a long time, years and years, and then getting the blue belt was a huge deal for me. Like getting a blue belt was like almost like it felt almost the same way as like getting the black belt for me, because like I didn't think either were ever going to happen at the time. It's like when you're in that moment or in that time period, you're like time just sort of passes slow, and you're like, all you're thinking about is that next belt or whatever. Dude, you're getting better every day, because you're training with the same people every day.
Yeah.
Mix it up.
Yeah.
Do more than your training partners. Go to seminars.
Yeah.
And you don't need the approval of anybody to go to a seminar. You don't need all your training partners with you to go to a seminar. You also
just go. There's other people there that you'll meet.
Go compete. Come to class early. Drill. The things that interest you, the things that you're into, like drill those things more. If you have somebody like-minded at your academy that wants to come in early or late and drill with you,
that's big.
Also,
that's
like
big.
finding open mats at your academy or in your area.
Yeah.
Open mat does not have to mean fucking marathon roll, beat the fuck out of each other. You can grab a friend and just drill on the side, like, let's just do arm bars for half an hour, do arm bars. How do you think your arm bar is going to get good? You're going to practice it, or you're going to fucking watch it on TV? You need to fucking drill. You're not, like, your creativity is going to come from the flow rolling and rolling with white belts.
Yep.
So blue belt blues, man, blue belt opportunity. That's not blues, man. You have like the sky's the limit in front of you. You're not the grappler you're going to be by purple belt, brown, black, or black belt. Like so, just compete now. Like, you could be a phenom. You could be. You're talking about Gordon Ryan. Like, fuck Gordon Ryan. Like, you could be the next Gordon Ryan, right?
Yeah.
Like, that guy's dope. Like, his leg locks are awesome. Like,
but you're a blue belt, dude.
You could be Gordon Ryan. Yeah. Like, you could do what he's doing. Like, you could outwork that guy. Like right now. So I mean, don't think about it as blue belt blues. Blue belt fucking opportunity, man. Yes. Go out there and be something. Like, pick it up. Like, get motivated.
You should hit. I mean, it's good that you're hitting blues at blue. You're gonna hit them at purple. You're gonna hit them at brown. And if this was easy, if this shit was easy, then everybody else, that 3% number or whatever 1% number it is to make it to black belt would be a lot bigger. And there's a reason why a lot of people quit. It's because of that blue belt blues. They go, oh, well, I think I should be better, than the other person. It's like, nah, man, it's us. It's just, hashtag stagnant. Dude, there's always plateaus, but with plateaus, you can make things rise. How do you do that? The perfect thing is what Clint said, is getting people to come in early, or to even come in early yourself. Like, there are I'm sure you guys have grappling dummies at AK Sunnyvale.
There's one there, yeah.
One grappling dummy. Dude, run around that thing and just practice your drills that you're working on and all that sort of stuff.
Running the gauntlet,
like the belt promotion gauntlet,
like slapping people with belts, or you mean like the?
There's a couple gauntlets, bro. There's the Infinity Gauntlet, but I actually used to have my students do an Infinity Gauntlet, and it would be they would have to face me after they
have like Shark Tank at some places where you're getting promoted, you have to roll with everybody, which like Shane, when he got his brown belt over at Nemesis in Portland. He's a
Takanori?
Yeah. He's a black belt now. Like, he got his black belt this last summer. But when he got his brown belt, like right before his wedding, they had the Shark Tank, so he had to roll with everybody first. But Nemesis is different, man. There's like drinking on the mat.
Yeah, I've heard of Nemesis. They're awesome.
Fucking Eric Hempel, man. I love those guys. It's a little bit different. I think that gyms with the kids program are kind of like that. I dig that. But,
yeah.
But no, like Nemesis is their respect to their whole thing. Like he runs his business the way he wants.
Nah, you gotta, dude. There's so many people who run jiu-jitsu different, just businesses different. If I had to say anything about the belt promotion gauntlet, guys, it's necessary in some weird ways. I think that if you do a gauntlet, it should be honored. I don't think kids should be doing a gauntlet. I think kids should do something a little bit more empowering for them. And you can have with kids
torture.
Have them a little promotion and have them smile for the pictures that their parents pay good money for them to take. You have them take a nice good picture of them getting promoted. But when they're adults, run them through the gauntlet. When they get their black belt, throw them. You know, that's a good one. You know what I mean? Or even just I think some people do it either gauntlet or throw, and I either way.
So you got his ass whipped and had to roll with the upper belt's cool.
Got my ass whipped.
It's fight school, man. What you want?
That's a good thing, man.
Fight school.
Let me tell you something, dude. My first training partners were girls, but most of my first training partners were like John Fitch and Josh Koscheck, and dudes who weren't the easiest guy to train with. D1 wrestlers, Nate Moore, all those guys, and it wasn't easy. But all I did is stick with it, and now it's like I go with a kind of tough guy who's a BJJ black belt, and I can usually hang with them wrestling wise and take them down and endure it because they're not punching me in the face. But it's that rising to the occasion. Being a blue belt is showing up, 0 tardies, 0 absences as much as you can, and taking the brunt of that. If you're gonna let's make a school analogy since I'm going to school. Blue belt is definitely like college. The class is going to run, and if you signed up for the class, your butt better be in the seat if you want the results you want. If not, you're going to get dropped. It's that simple. And what'll happen again too at blue belt, if you take those blue belt blues seriously and you take too much time off, you're going to come back and you're going to feel behind. There's going to be a couple people that have passed you up, some youngins that might start finishing you. That will cause even more stress in your head. If you're able to take that and keep moving on, all the more power to you. But it's hard. It's hard to stop that momentum and then come back and have people just smashing on you. There's people who really give up to that, and I would hope that you don't, because I didn't. I was like, fuck that. I'm going to get them.
This is going to sound kind of a little bit dark, but just roll with it for a second. You're a white belt or a blue belt. You got your one teammate or friend that probably works you over quite a bit. Right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's that person.
But what you do is you keep training.
Yep.
Every day. Just keep going back every day, and eventually
you're gonna finish that.
They're gonna take some time off. They're gonna get sick. They're gonna get hurt. God forbid, but they're gonna get hurt, or they're gonna take time off because they met a girl or they got married, whatever.
People are older too. They're just old.
They're gonna come back 6 months later.
Yep.
And you guys are gonna roll again, and it's gonna be like, what the fuck happened? All of a sudden, like you're up here. You're Superman, they're Clark Kent, right? And you're gonna be like, "What the
Superman
fuck happened?" 3. And the confidence you get from that, dude, the reunification, like reuniting with that training partner that used to whip that ass, but now you're fucking getting the best, and he's like, "What the fuck?" Like, just
and then one further, you stuck around, and that person that did stuck around, you're passing them up. They didn't take a break, and they were pushing. Like, there was a guy named Old Man Steve that we used to train with, right? Oh, yeah, Old Man Steve. All he did was he put his fist in your throat from closed guard on top.
Like Thing.
Yeah, like Thing. Yeah, Thing. Same guy, Donnie. He'd do the same thing. He'd just do tough shit. And why did we have those guys in the gym still? We complained in the beginning, but why did we keep them? Because they were like a gatekeeper, and if you could get past that and you started finishing them, you would actually get some tough jiu-jitsu. That's just what happens. You just get tough from doing that shit. So Steve, what I did with Steve, because Thing wasn't my guy mostly. He was a Marines guy. He would always go after Josh. Yeah. So Donnie would go after Josh. Old Man Steve would come after me. So Old Man Steve would do all the meanest shit that he could. And it took till blue belt, the end of my white belt, blue belt, purple belt, that I was just all over him. But there would be times at blue belt where he would still fold me up, or there would be this thing and it would hurt training with him, like it would still hurt after training with him, and my fingers would feel like shit, still developing the body. But that's what you're fucking there for. You want to become John Rambo, you want to become the Terminator, you better fucking start training like you're the fucking Terminator,
It's fight school, homie.
It's fight school. It's, that's another thing too. I have been arguing with some feminists in class. Because, hashtag old man Steve. Check this out. I've been arguing with some feminists in school because they want to talk about men being stronger than women. And I definitely agree that men are stronger than women, but not in all forms. Because,
and not Gabby Garcia.
Not Gabby Garcia. But I won't even mention that. If we were to take the study of girls from 12 to 15 and boys 12 to 15, and you were to see the growth rate of girls at 12 to 15 and the seriousness of their grappling training, and you see the dropout rate of boys or them going towards wrestling or other things is really high, because girls grow bigger than boys from the 12 to 15 age in some cases and in most cases, and they're focused and they're a little bit stronger in their will. They're a little more balanced in their will, so they're able to attack more and able to get more. And what I would tell my boys is they're going, oh, but this girl is too tough, this girl is this girl is that. I'm like, endure it, because one day you're going to give it back. She's staying on top now because she's physically bigger than you, but endure it. And I had a few of my young guy students who did endure it, and they lasted until they were 16, 17, 18, and they moved on to being coaches or training under Leo. But that's what it took, because those girls, second of all, the girls were getting an extra class 3 times a week with a women's class taught by Patty Fontes immediately after mine, and immediately, they're in that mind frame. The boys didn't get that extra. They had to go to wrestling or other things to find that. And girls have less ego and a hypervision to learn like crazy at that age. So it's like, we can't argue that fact no more. I think that girls, maybe in the older men, like guys like Clint over here, and even guys like me, we're gonna outstrength a lot of the girls that are grappling with us. But let me tell you something. If you are not in shape and you're grappling with someone like Karen Antunes, and you're not in the littlest bit of shape, you're fucked. And that girl will embarrass you, and all the guys who are belts below you and from 20 to 30 some on, And, we went a lot off track over here, but don't want to get called out. Thoughts on blues coaching? I've been asked to coach as a blue. I'm just a blue. Well, here's my thought on that one, dude. You can definitely coach adults. You can definitely, I would say, if you're a blue belt, start coaching kids. That's the best thing. With adults, it's you could definitely teach them basics, but if you want to become a lifelong instructor, you want to practice this shit, and you want to be good, and you want no awkwardness, you don't want any drama, be a blue belt that coaches kids. Easy.
Yeah, contribute where you can, but I mean, obviously, if there's a black belt around or whatever, brown, just yield. But for the kids, it's just contribute to the way, whatever way you can to your academy.
Yes.
And just keep training. You've been out. You mentioned you've been off training for a little bit. Get back on training. Train.
See, I'm gonna get back.
Motivate yourself, man. Go out there, train.
Yeah. See, even like right now, I can't physically train right now, dude. But like, I'm doing other things. Like, I'm going to hot yoga. That's not fucking easy. Like, I'm doing something else that's gonna help me. But I'm sitting at home going like, I need to do something that's as good as Jiu Jitsu.
It's not that Bikram guy, is it?
No. It's I actually.
He's not giving you a little squeeze.
I actually only go to classes where the girls train. It's not because I'm trying to be a creep, but it's because I just like the feminine voice when they're saying all those things like namaste, feel the, I don't want some old guy named Bert, coming and checking my heart chakra,
I don't want a male massage therapist, so I got you there.
They came over, they gave me head massages, put essential oils on me and shit. I was like, oh my God, I was fucking, dude, I didn't know what was happening. I was like, oh shit.
Oh shit.
But
Man, we went for 2 hours and a million minutes.
Oh, that's how we always do, bro. You know how it is.
I gotta do a little bit of writing tonight.
Same.
Dear diary.
Dear diary, yeah.
But shout outs before we cut off. You got any?
I got some to De Anza right now, guys. De Anza College. Way to go. Seriously, taking this 30-some-odd old guy over here and making him a good student. Guy, guys, I was not the best student in school, and it's something that I really took to heart. Like, God damn it. So De Anza College, you're the shit for getting me back in there and helping me out and walking me through, like, it's the Aaron. The, that sort of stuff. Thanks.
All right, I'd like to make a shout out to school also.
Yeah.
But Want versus Need, Allegora and Bronze Humanity. What's up, Lauren? Meg over there. Sunless tanning stuff. They're holding it down in San Jose. If you're looking for a fake tan, I don't know what the fuck you call it. Anyway, Bronze Humanity in San Jose. They're fucking awesome.
I'm looking for a fake tan.
No, they listen to the show. They're cool as shit. They're over by Oak Ridge Mall, so check them out. Bronze Humanity. They're nice ladies. Just give them a call. What else we got here? This show is powered by Maker's Mark 46.
Ooh, yeah, dude.
And Valley Coke. And U.S. Open this Sundays. If you want to come see me, come down Sunday morning. U.S. Open Super Heavyweight Division Master 1 Black Belt. I'll be the dude with the pretty blue eyes and the 2 gold medals. Come check me out.
This guy. Wait. Before we go, how's training been for all this and everything? It's been good. It's been good.
Kids getting smashed. It's fun.
Dude, that's awesome. And I saw your post. By the way, the Green Lantern throwout. I love that.
Oh, the battery with the medals on it.
Yeah, dude. Just keep keeping it up like that. I'm looking forward to seeing you compete again, my friend. And guys, local tournaments like this in the Bay Area, they're fucking tough, and they're great testing ground for the LA area. If you want to say like Bay Area Jiu Jitsu is like whatever, go get a life. All right, these are some great tournaments.
Terra lives over here.
Yeah, Kyle Terra lives over. There's top 5 teams. Yeah, you fight those guys. See what happens.
Here, go fight him.
Yeah, go see all those dudes. Go see Nate Mendelsohn. Go see if you can stop him from passing your guard. Good luck.
Then you have who else is up here? Fucking real quick. He qualified for ADCCs. He's under Yamaso. Marcos Tarragosa's up here.
Yeah, Marcos Tarragosa.
Elliot Kelly's here.
Elliot Kelly.
Get the fuck out of here.
Wolf, dude.
Wolf Barnado.
Wolf Barnado's up in here, dude. All those guys. I mean, dude, we are so rich with this Bay Area Jiu-Jitsu. I can't wait because U.S. Open is going to be the first tournament I attend in the Bay Area for a long time to go and watch and support everybody. So I'll be out there to support you.
I'll be coaching Saturday, and then Sunday I'll be there smashing. So.
Oh, dude, I can't wait to watch it, buddy. Yeah, dude. Hey,
it's fucking just
gonna break you like a toothpick.
Just concede now. Last year, Absolute Division was a little bit slimmer when they saw a big Clint coming through. Just saying.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Hey, dude, if I saw those pecs too from the other side, I'd be like, you know what, my ankle hurts from that last little.
Oh, fuck that kid. Anyway, fucking thanks for watching Clint Cronin Show. We're here and Ryan up in the house again. Justice League's gonna kill it. It's gonna be way better than Thor.
Yeah, it's gonna be, dude. Yeah. So consensus, dude. People have been saying they cannot wait for Justice League, and I can't wait for 2. That's
Justice League.
Yeah,
that's it.
DC's resurgence, guys.
I can't do DC. My fingers are.
Yeah. No.
I got too much jiu-jitsu in.
Hey, but guys, you don't know how happy I am to hear Clint being more on board with what's going on with DC. Because if you see the last podcast, we were abysmal when it came to thinking about what was coming on with DC. So now, woo, buddy, I cannot wait.
If I started filming these things all fucking Zack Snyder, you'd be depressed too.
Yeah.
Y'all are happy because you see some vivid color. We're here in Times Square. Y'all don't even know.
Dude, the Flash, when he comes through and he's like, yeah, this is gross. Like, I was like, oh, and he has all the goo all over him. I'm like, yeah. You know what the goo looked like? It looked like Ghostbusters. It had this throwback slime feeling, and then
ectoplasm.
The feeling of the soundtrack from the 89 Dude, kids will be happy. And then, guys, if you haven't, check out the toys for it too. I've already built the Aquaman set, so I'm going to build the Nightcrawler and then the Flying Fox next, $129. I'm committing to this.
All right, you're into this.
But I'm going to build it on YouTube, so check it out, guys.
All right, cool. All right. We'll be back with reactions later. Clint Cronin Show 2017 episode 50-something later.
Yeah, later.
Stay black. I'm 10%.